Radio is live.
Hey, how's everybody doing? 2 years later and still no word of any grand conspiracy to kill President Trump. Nobody knows what happened. Such a mystery.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I got Lindsey Graham's autopsy in 24 hours. I don't know. It's been 700 days. And nothing out of Butler, Pennsylvania. It's such a mystery. What could possibly have been going on? Hi, everybody. Hi, Murtek. Thanks for rating. Hey, Griffin Lady. I suggest you guys watch Jim Caviezel on Person of Interest. It will give you chills, okay? All right. How's everybody doing? Okay, so we're going to have to talk about this shirt.
Oh, please.
But I'm going to tell you about something that's back, and I'm super excited. We have 3 products now for you to choose from for the weight loss category, right? They do different things all to help you lose weight. And so out of the gates, I'm super excited to get Lean back. Take Lean. You guys remember that? TakeLean.com, promo code Wendy. 20% off Lean. Everybody talks about the losing weight, losing dramatic weight. A lot of people are super sketch about pharma, about side effects, about unknown stuff, about not being told the truth. It's like almost we were lied to for many years. That is why Lean exists. Doctors created Lean, a weight loss supplement. The results are remarkable. The ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, to burn fat by converting it into energy, and to curb your appetite and your cravings so you're not hungry. Lean is not for the casual dieter. You only have a couple pounds to lose. This is not your product. If you want to lose significant weight, the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition say this. Lean is for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. TakeLean.com, promo code Wendy, 20 off. Delighted that we have our friends at Brickhouse Nutrition back for a little while. It's good stuff. I obviously have not taken Lean, but I do very much trust Brickhouse Nutrition. Very much. And my cupboard shows that I have a lot of Brickhouse Nutrition at my house, and it's great. Okay, Brock, let's talk shirts. So if you didn't watch Weekends
Let's not and say we did.
If you watched our Sunday show yesterday, and if you didn't, where were you? That's the bigger, more pervasive question we have today. So Weekends with Wendy. I wore the rubies. Brock put up the picture of the shirt for the Army. This is our Wendy Bell Radio Army shirt. This is for you hardcorers. Brock, why don't you show them?
I don't have it.
Anyway, there's 2 kinds. And Brock had said, why don't you email me? If you want one, tell me which one you want and what size. I don't need to know what kind of fabric you like. I'm not interested in your geographical location. I'm not looking for suggestions on how to make it better. It's the shirt that he and Demanda came up with. 2 of them, 2 different kinds. One is like an army green and one is a black. And I think they look really, really cool. I'm not so sure Brock was anticipating the feedback.
All right, I'll show them real quick. I'm going to take me off so you can see it.
And so we're just trying to get like a rough estimate of how many we would need to make if people would be interested. So if you're not interested, you don't have to be. It's fine. But if you are, so what are we up to? Like 300 shirts?
Probably around that. This is the green one. And the style is not going to change. It's not mix and match.
This is what it is. This is the style. So this is the green. You see the logo on the sleeve.
Yeah.
Right? We the people.
And this is the black one. And these are mock-ups. So we're going to try to get to close to those as we can.
So that's what it is. And I think they look great and huge help. Demanda?
Yes.
Huge help. And Brock, thank you.
But if you do email me.
Let me just say this. Only tell him which color you want and the size. That's it. Some of you thought it was hilarious
and
to send
V-neck-
really long messages. And when,
V-neck or crew neck. We're going to try to do V-necks. I can't guarantee that we're going to have them,
we'll see.
but that's it. You know,
Color, size, crew, or V. Period.
yes.
That's it.
Nothing more. That's it. I spent 6 hours on it yesterday. So so you guys know, it was not a fun day. It just was not.
So what's my view on merchandise, Brock?
You leave it up to Brock because you don't want anything to do with it. And I don't blame you.
By the way,
Here we go.
Diane
Here we go.
Newman.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane,
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back, not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hey, if you're new, if you're listening to my voice for the first time, and you're a common sense conservative, heck, even if you're not, but you're tired of being lied to, you're tired of the propaganda, you're tired of not knowing whom to believe and ever feeling like you can believe. This is why this program exists. We have a lot of fun, but we share a lot of information. I am by no means cutting edge, but I am curious and I am honest. WendyBellRadio.com. That's how you follow us. Join our army, which puts you in on our live chat the whole 3 hours, broadcast live, on stream. Go to WendyBellRadio.com. Just keep coming back. I'm glad you're here. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, it took me a couple hours after I heard that Lindsey Graham had passed away to really consider how that felt. I didn't agree with a lot of the senator's hawkish ideas on war, how many times he went to Ukraine, but I never doubted that he loved America. And it does not surprise me in the least that as his untimely death hit our inboxes over the weekend, that we would find out he had among the smallest net worth dollar amounts of all of the people on Capitol Hill. I never got the vibe from Lindsey Graham that you could buy him. I didn't get the idea that he was a huge liar. I believed he was a political chameleon, and as such was very important to President Trump. And they weren't always friends, and Lindsey said some things that I disagreed with regarding the president. But you know what? Those two men represent something that I think is really important, and it's the way things used to be. We used to be able to talk to one another. We used to be able to have honest conversations. And I don't know if it's this desperation for clickbait, views, followers, likes, attention. It's just made Congress so petty and so snipey and so unbecoming and off-putting. But it was in one such instance, and it involved Lindsey Graham, that I awakened personally from my own propaganda coma. Now, I've said this, that the Fauci global pandemic was a moment for a lot of us. But my awakening came in the summer of 2018. And it was literally Lindsey Graham interviewing Brett Kavanaugh. Essentially, that's what it was, a job interview for the Supreme Court. And he was incredulous, Lindsey was, that Dianne Feinstein had received a note several weeks earlier, before the confirmation hearings, from Christine Blasey Ford. Dr. Ford alleged 35 years earlier that she was molested, if you will, and that Brett Kavanaugh was some kind of a serial raper. Of course, the evidence was thin, the memories were vague, and it really exposed, I believe, for me, the depravity of politics. That you're so desperate for your side to win that you would do whatever it took to tar and feather a human being to ruin their chances of doing something important for America. It was this particular exchange in 2018. Literally, it was September, first week of September, 4 days of confirmation hearings for Brett Kavanaugh. Kind of settled it. And then Dianne Feinstein comes out with this bombshell letter and they have to come back. Senate Judiciary has to call a special hearing to present this evidence that the senator from California had been sitting on. And all of it was so dubious. And it just smacked so much of what Clarence Thomas went through with Anita Hill and the Coke can. Pepsi can, whatever it was. You'll remember that story. This was where Lindsey Graham lost his ever-loving mind. And he called out those senators across the aisle who knowingly were trying to ruin what I believe to be a good man's life. And Lindsey let it fly. This was the moment that started my own personal awakening of how dirty and desperate politics is. Lindsey Graham.
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
That was everything. That was everything people like you and I felt watching this process. Watching a guy, just a guy, get absolutely chewed up and spit out with the most disgusting allegations. And then you almost felt as though it would be open season on anybody. The game is so rigged And the people are so corrupt that the humanity of serving, of doing a noble job for the people of the United States, it flew out the window. And I woke up. And when I watched Brett Kavanaugh testify the last day with his wife over his shoulder, sitting behind him, and his daughters, and he cried. A grown man on live television being broadcast around the world. It was the story. My heart broke. That is when I became fully in touch with my own political views. As a former television news person, I couldn't share my thoughts. They had no relevance. They ought not influence anything. I had to put it in a box and stick it on a shelf. Well, that box came down that day, and I've been changed ever since. Because that's not okay. That's not who we are. And a combination of bad actors in Washington, a deep state uniparty structure of filth, social media, and this rabid desire for immediate gratification and popularity, and look at me, and the corruption in the media, the bias, the lies, the propaganda, the garbage steering us in whatever direction we were supposed to go. Enough. We lost a good one in Senator Lindsey Graham, and I'm intrigued by President Trump's urging that Governor McMaster in South Carolina, who is supposed to make an announcement this afternoon at 4:00, that the governor announced Lindsey Graham's sister fill his spot in the United States Senate at least through the end of this year. His sister, Darlene, who Lindsey Graham adopted when she was 11 because both of their parents had died. Lindsey Graham at 20 did that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the president calls the TV stations, the networks. I don't know if I've heard him this hurt before. You'll hear it for yourself next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I think that I began that day when I watched that, and I remember watching that exchange with Lindsey Graham, and it goes on for another 3 minutes. I remember feeling hate. I hated the Democrats. I hated Dianne Feinstein. I freaking hated them. Hated them. And that Dr. Ford, I sort of like Hunter Biden. Like, how do I feel sorry for you? How do I come out of this and I actually pity you? Because you're being played. You're a cog in a wheel, and the minute it stops moving, they'll discard you and forget about you. It's just so gross. I want to read you this real fast, minuscule writing here. Oh, geez. This is the picture that makes you stop and think, wow, is that really what I look like? Everyone has that picture. This young lady went to Kelly Morgan of Morgane's Fitness and did the 90-day Ignite. She said, for me, it was a picture of me holding my son. It was the turning point. Looking at the photo, I realized how unhealthy I had become. I didn't want to be the mom who couldn't keep up with her child. I didn't want to be the mom who had to tell her son she couldn't do something because she wouldn't fit. I told myself I was going to change. I was going to eat better, work out, lose weight. Then life happened. We bought a house, and those plans got pushed aside. It wasn't until July that I truly committed. I cut out extra sugar, stopped drinking soda, sweet tea, started meal prepping, paying attention to what I was eating, working out at home. Through those changes alone, I lost 30 pounds. And then January 1st came around. This time something was different. I texted Kelly, friends, and said I wanted to join Ignite 90. When I started, Kelly, did the body composition and all that stuff. Did the workouts kick my butt? Absolutely. Did I want to quit? Absolutely. But Kelly was there every step of the way, encouraging me, holding me accountable. Today, I can proudly say I've graduated from Ignite 90 and I'm officially down 100 pounds. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. Congratulations. Morgains Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Remember, through the month of July, without all of the back and forth with Kelly, you can still join the program for just $99. Go to the website and you can see the difference. Holy cow.
We're now up to 250 emails.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to get, you can send some to me, forward me half or all of them, and I'll do them today?
No.
Thank God.
I know. Please. Your sham of a, I can help. Just save it.
Maybe he was poisoned. Maybe he was assassinated by Russia. Maybe there was some electromagnetic hoo-ha that happened. Or maybe he suffered the extraordinarily painful and almost always deadly aortic, rupture? Aneurysm rupture happened to a cousin of mine, and it is terrible to watch. That's what the medical examiner says. And living with a cardiologist, I can tell you that would be in keeping with a quick and surprising death. President Trump clearly caught off guard. He said he had just spoken with a senator who was coming back from his 11th trip to Ukraine. I guess they were both united, obviously, the president and the senator, on stopping the killing. Trump obviously wanting it to stop faster. But the president called into a couple different programs, and I saw him this morning calling into Fox as well. He wanted to make sure you got the message and that the story wasn't relayed to you by the fake news in the wrong way. This is the president on NBC with Kristen Welker, speaking with Lindsey Graham just hours before he died, and Lindsey's excitement to start back in the Senate and to pass the Save America Act. Listen.
President Trump, thank you for joining us, and my condolences to you.
Well, thank you. He's a tough one to lose. He was great. He was unique in every way, actually.
He was, Mr. President, and I know that we are all just absorbing this news. We are all in shock. Can you tell us, Mr. President, how you received this news and your immediate gut reaction when you heard it?
So what makes it even stranger is that I got a call last night sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. Had a right to be. And he was a worker. He was really a worker. But he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired. But he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly. But I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate. He was, if he wanted to get something, And, you know, he had a unique ability. He was able to deal with Democrats and Republicans. If I had a problem, a real problem, I wouldn't often ask. But if I had a problem with a Democrat, he could work it out. He was a great politician, actually.
And then the president called CNN and got patched through to Jake Tapper, who was asking Trump about Lindsey and he being not enemies, but opponents for a while.
Yeah, he had some harsh words about you 10 years ago when you were running against each other.
Did. Well, he ran against me, and he was, formidable. He was tough. He was tough and smart, and that's where I got to know him on the campaign. I didn't know him before then, and I spoke to him maybe once in my life before then, but I got to know him. He was one of the 17 people that ran against me, and he was, a smart guy, and it was a nasty campaign. He was tough and nasty, but I was nasty too, and it worked out fine. And I got to know him by little drips and drabs, and then we became friendly, and there was no better advocate. He was a fantastic advocate in the Senate, and he could do things that other people, he was able to. If I had a really big problem with a certain Democrat, he could work it out. That's something most Republicans can't do.
An interesting thing, to be successful as a politician, you can't hold grudges. You can't. And it's a very interesting way that the president described them getting to know one another. First ugly on the campaign trail. Lindsey Graham thought he was unfit to serve, right? He spoke out about January 6th. And then Jake Tapper did this, which I don't know. Kudos to Jake Tapper in one way, because he realizes this isn't a time to be talking about anything other than the passing of Lindsey Graham. Listen.
Well, I know you don't want to talk about any other issues out of respect for Lindsey Graham, but we would love to have you back sometime because I do have a lot of other questions for you, sir.
Sure. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Thank you for calling in.
We're trying to have CNN go in a normal path, and we'll do that.
Well, I'm on a normal path right here, sir, and I appreciate your time.
Good.
And thank you for calling in.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
I mean, literally, he has a million things he could say to Jake Tapper, who's the ultimate snake. This guy has been the biggest propagandist. He wrote a freaking book alleging that it was a mystery to him and to everybody else in Capitol Hill that Joe Biden was infirm and incapable and most assuredly not in charge. And we're like, what? I live in freaking Pittsburgh and I'm a mom and I saw that hour number one. Jake, stop trying to pimp your book, buddy. But there's President Trump. A little bit of a dig, but I'm going to be fair to you, Jake. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a little bit of the conspiracy theory vibe. Was he assassinated? Then we're going to parlay that into allegedly proof of life from Mitch McConnell, if you believe this sort of stuff. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I don't, right? I don't know. And then Scott Jennings taking a premature victory lap. I'm just thinking maybe that's not what you want to be doing right now.
Pump the brakes, Scott.
Let's just see how it all works out. I hope that Mitch McConnell is not dead and they're just covering it up. I hope. But you know what? If you can't talk or you can't communicate or you can't be in public, you can't do your job. Put somebody else to finish your term. Period. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, I want to tell you something about Health Revolution. Health Revolution. Look, Obamacare sucked. Everybody knew it was going to suck. That's why no Republicans voted for it. They shoved it down your throat. Obama lied to you every which way and 18 times on Sunday to tell you about if you like your doctor, you can keep a doctor. If you like insurance, you can keep it. You couldn't keep anything. Your premium went through the roof. Services sucked. Choice of doctors shrank. It was a boning of epic nature. And now it's crumbling. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? Where'd the money go, right? You need health insurance. How about you decide your coverage? How about you create your own plan? How about it? Doesn't that sound good? info.healthrevolution.net. info.healthrevolution.net. I had a little bit of an aneurysm there. 800-868-6187. I want to read you this. Hey, Wendy, I wanted to share my experience with Tyler at Health Revolution. After I signed up via healthrevolution.net, he was completely professional and sent me a single text with his contact information without any pressure. When I contacted him a few days later, he walked me through several different plans and explained each one clearly. I ended up with a great policy that includes a life insurance rider for much less than what I had found on the ACA website. I highly recommend that your listeners check them out. And yes, you are fabulous. Thanks, Ronald. I love you back. This is the deal. Save money, choose your doctor, lower your premium 30 to 60%, no copays. Okay, I'm in. 800-868-6187. How's that? I like that. That was good. That's 2 great testimonials so far. Might as well make it a third. You ready? Dear Wendy, I use an electric shaver. Okay. Every so often, maybe twice a year, I blow it out with the air hose, but it had this odd aroma about it. I thought, hey, why not? So I opened it up, sprayed it with Sniper, and let it sit overnight. Gosh, it's like brand new. Thanks.
Really? I'm going to have to do that.
This is Rick from Oregon. Rick, thank you. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Do you have anything to add about our friend who owns disinfectwithsniper.com? Again, this is the product.
No.
If I told you I used it every single day, that would be a lie. I use it multiple times every single day. No joke. It's in my kitchen. It's upstairs in my shower. There's one down the hallway in between the boys' bathrooms, and there's one downstairs in the basement, in the laundry room and bathroom area. And I have a little one in my car.
You know what I started using from them? The mosquito.
Oh, I haven't used that yet. I have to.
You've all seen my deck at this point, probably.
Mm-hmm.
They has a mosquito. I spray the sides down with it. And it seems that I haven't been getting bit. Bitten.
Thank you, God. Oh, praise Jesus. Praise Jesus.
I'll send you those emails today. I'll send you the spreadsheet I made too, and you can go back and fill out each individual one, and yeah, you'll have fun.
So if you're interested in a Wendy Bell Radio Army shirt.
So let me talk about it. This is not a pre-order. This is just to get
gauging
a guesstimate on what we need to order. So when we do put them out, those who want them can get them and we don't run out. So there's no money involved. There's no nothing. I'm just trying to get a guess on what we need, because if you ask both of us, I would have probably said, 150 shirts.
And we're already double that.
Yeah. So which is fantastic.
Which is great.
And like I said, we put V-neck, we put scoop neck. That's if we can. So like
you'll
nothing
see.
The only thing in stone is shirt, the green shirt or the black shirt. That's the only thing in the design. Is the only thing in stone. So we haven't even gotten to the point of finding the shirts. So it's not going to be today, tomorrow. It's not a pre-order. It's just so we can get a guesstimate. And the Zippo lighters are being worked on now. The Second Amendment commemorative gifts, if you know, you know, are being done right now also. So as soon as we get those done, we'll put those in the store. 6 hours.
Be careful what you
Wendy was out gallivanting around. There's Brock burning the midnight oil in the daytime.
I have no sympathy for you, so whatever. Cry me a river.
I know you have no sympathy.
Cry me a river. Why does Ro Khanna think we care?
He's a politician.
About anything he says. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Now, I admit, I thought it was weird when we saw the picture at Disney with Lindsey Graham carrying a bubbler wand, looking like he had been touched by a bedazzled princess, right? And we're like, that's weird. What's the dude doing with no wife and no kids, never got married, never had a family? What's he doing at the Magic Kingdom? I don't know. And I was very quick to judge, and I know no details, and I feel ashamed of that today. But I did not realize Lindsey Graham's history. I did not realize that when he was about 18, his mom died from Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then about 18 months after his mom died, his dad died of a massive heart attack in his bed. Lindsey Graham was 20 years old. He had an 11-year-old sister, Darlene. So Lindsey adopted her and made it his mission to raise her as his own. And he joined the Air Force, if I'm not mistaken, so she could get benefits through the military. And he raised her. And they are very close, were. And so now the president says, you know what? I would very much encourage Henry McMaster, governor of South Carolina, fill Lindsey Graham's Senate seat, at least through the remainder of this year with his sister, Darlene. She is not a politician, which I think is probably her strongest suit. Don't you? Now, other things have been swirling about Lindsey. I just watched a little bit of Alex Jones, who knows nothing, but is trying to do some timeline of where he was in Ukraine and marching it back, doing this timeline to see, is it possible? Could he have been poisoned? Blah, 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 blah. Well, when you talk about an aortic dissection, and that's almost always caused by problems with blood pressure, my cardiologist family members tell me, it's a very swift and painful death. And that's what the medical examiner says happened. I want you to hear this Israeli podcaster, though, suggesting that Lindsey was onto something. They were going to be voting on something that has to do with Russia, and that this was on the agenda as the Senate got back to work, ostensibly this morning. This is what this podcaster says about perhaps Lindsey Graham being assassinated. Listen.
Russia. The timeline here is almost impossible to ignore. On July 10th, Lindsey Graham was standing in Kiev, Ukraine, on his 10th wartime visit. He toured a Ukrainian drone production facility. He met with Zelensky, and then he stood in front of the cameras and made a declaration that would, probably have sent shockwaves through the Kremlin. He announced that a bipartisan group of senators had reached an agreement with the White House to pass the Sanctioning Russia Act, a bill with 85 co-sponsors designed to impose devastating economic penalties on countries buying Russian oil and funding Putin's war machine. He said, let those supporting Russia know it's going to be a price to be paid. He flew home, and then the next evening, he was in cardiac arrest. Now, here's what you need to know about Russia and cardiac arrest. Russian intelligence has a long, well-documented record using undetectable poisons to eliminate enemies of the state. Alexander Litvinenko, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, was poisoned with polonium in London. Alexei Navalny, poisoned with a nerve agent derived from dart frog toxin, confirmed by the UK and European allies just months ago. Sergei Skripal, poisoned with Novichok on British soil. The Soviet KGB literally invented a poison gun that induced cardiac arrest and left no trace. So cardiac arrest tells us how one's life ended, right? But it doesn't always tell us why the heart stopped beating. Okay, and Graham had also publicly called for someone inside Russia to assassinate Vladimir Putin. He called Putin a thug and a bully. He was the driving force behind legislation that could have crippled Russia's entire war economy, okay? So did Russia decide that Lindsey Graham was too dangerous to leave alive? Did they find a way to reach him either in Ukraine or after he returned? The FBI is checking that, I'm sure.
Interesting. I have no idea what to think about that. But I will tell you this, the Senate bill he's talking about is called the Sanctioning Russia Act of 2025. It was introduced by Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal last year. It would trigger major sanctions if Russia refuses a peace deal with Ukraine, if it violates one, or if it launches another invasion. The bill also includes steep tariffs on imports from countries that keep buying Russian oil, uranium, and other products. Lindsey Graham said the Senate could move forward on it soon, likely this week, and that the White House had effectively signaled support. So my understanding is this is what the Senate is going to be moving in Graham's honor. Of course, the Save America Act is what you and I are talking about. So 12 hours after Lindsey Graham is reported dead, Team McConnell, Mitch McConnell's team, works overtime to make the Kentucky senator appear to be alive. Now, is he alive? I don't know. If he was alive, one would imagine putting out a quick video is a lot more effective than putting up a photograph of him. And by the way, not a lot of people are buying this. This is from NewYorkMag.com. Mitch McConnell shares a very normal proof of life photo. Many people were surprised to learn this morning, this is yesterday, that a U.S. senator had died, and it was not Mitch McConnell. Wild rumors have been swirling about the former Republican Senate Majority Leader's health for the past month. McConnell was taken from his home in an ambulance on June 14th and has been in the hospital ever since. So tomorrow is a month. His staff did not offer any substantive updates on his condition, even as elected officials from both parties called for an explanation and conservative commentators demanded proof of life. Where's everybody else? We should all. Then on Sunday night, around 12 hours after we learned of the shocking death of McConnell's Senate colleague Lindsey Graham, the Kentuckian allegedly finally shared a photo and a lengthy statement on his health. So the picture, which was shared with media outlets and on the senator's Facebook page, shows McConnell sitting up with pillows behind him, his wife, Elaine Cho, at his side. In his right hand, just happens to be holding a copy of today's Washington Post sports section. In the statement, McConnell says he was hospitalized due to a fall at his home last month that left him briefly unconscious. He notes that he didn't have a heart attack or a stroke, contrary to what was said in the EMS dispatch call, nor did he suffer any broken bones or have a concussion. Why would you be in the hospital for a month? See, these are very simple things to solve if you're forthcoming and honest, which we know nobody is. He attributes his silence over the last month to discomfort with sharing information on his health and wrote, "You all know how folks of my generation often hesitate to share the vulnerability that comes with getting older," he says. "Even in the public eye, I feel that same instinct. I can't help it." Okay, well, that's all well and good, but we demand to know if you're freaking there, Kay Granger. I mean, what more do we need to know?
Meanwhile, most old people will tell you exactly what's wrong with them.
Well, I went to the
detail.
doctor
Right.
and I have a bunion and then I've got this weird heart thing. And they say I need to get on the treadmill and do a stress test.
The amount of prescriptions I've got to take.
Then I had to go to Costco and horse around with the pharmacy. Right? I mean, to Brock's point, touche. And so you look at this picture, right? Which apparently is an old photo. Let's find out. Again, I don't know. But here is a post on X, which puts the photos side by side. There's one that was widely shared in 2023. And then there's one that allegedly Mitch McConnell put on his Facebook page yesterday, which happens to be the same photo. Right? So photo one, widely shared 2023 version, Mitch McConnell and Elaine Cho. In a recovery rehab setting, McConnell wears a red gingham shirt, smiles broadly while holding printed material, seated in the blue chair with white linens behind him. Photo number two The version associated with July 12th, 2026, yesterday, appears identical to photo number 1 in every visible detail. Same clothing, exact same pose, expression, same background, same blue chair, same item in McConnell's hand, same lighting and composition. But the side-by-side observation there appear to be the same photograph. No meaningful differences exist, right? This confirms the image being referenced in recent discussions is an older one being recirculated. Why would they do that? And then if you go to Grok, hey, Grok, what's this? And Grok says, this photo is AI generated, confirmed by AI detectors like Synth ID and reports from the Cincinnati Enquirer and others. No real recent photo like this exists from McConnell's hospitalization since June 17th. The newspaper and any date shown in his hand are fabricated by AI. Similar fakes have mimicked the Washington Post around July 7th. So what is it? Is it true or not? Well, this is Rob Finnerty over at Newsmax asks Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, what's going on? And Tim just drops it. And then the congressman drops it. This is swamp as swampy gets.
Just days after McConnell went to the hospital, his wife, Elaine Chao, flew to China to meet with the Chinese vice president. Congressman, great to see you. What do you think is going on here?
I think her ties to China have been suspect for a long time in the transportation world, and serving on transportation. That always raised an eyebrow for me. But nothing happens in this town by accident. Of course, I'm in Tennessee. Things happen by accident down here, but nothing in Washington ever happens by accident. It's just it's a cover up on top of a cover up, and that's why nobody trusts what's going on in Washington. This whole thing is a farce. I think a lot of people have some ideas about what's going on. There's a timeline of elections when they would occur, and you're right. How can you be critical of Joe Biden wandering around the White House, not knowing, looking for the soft serve ice cream machine for 4 years when you can't be critical of this? So yeah, it's in our own party. But it goes, and that proves my point about the deep state. This town is just Washington D.C. is just a large man-made sewer, and we rarely stir it. We just let it sit there and stink, and we don't drain it. And this is what continues to happen time and time again.
Interesting. I mean, I would absolutely concur with him, having very little knowledge of what happens in the Beltway. As a common sense observer of the suck that is the Beltway, who's alive and who's dead? Okay, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we're going to chew on this a little bit later in the show. There's some interesting, I don't know, the noose is tightening on that whole baby-to-baby diaper thing going on in California. Oh, yeah, a reporter goes digging. You guys got to hear this. I have it for you next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. No, we'd competitively bid this out to other people. We made sure we got the best offer. You mean from Jennifer Newsom's friend? Right? Is that how you guys competitively bid that? Okay. Bidded that? I don't know. Bade that? By the way, the picture's ridiculous. Mitch McConnell looks better in this picture than he has in 15 years. Like, I don't know if you go in and you're like, hey, smooth out my wrinkles or like my age spots. It's just ridiculous. And I don't think anybody really believed it. Well, some people did. But the comments are brutal. Brutal. If you ever want to gauge public opinion, that's obviously the best way to do it, is just read the comments. All right, you know what? It's been a while since I felt it, and I just felt like I needed it. Don't you ever just sometimes need it? I did, but now I can't open it. Oh, fudgesicles.
Do you need help?
I don't know why. I'm totally mental here. I can't open this up. Oh, I got it. Isn't it nice? Sometimes I'm just going to walk around. You know how guys carry the change in their pocket and they jingle jangle? I worked with a guy at one of my TV stations that I worked at, and he always was jingle jangling I was like, man, I would be doing the same darn thing if I had silver and gold, right? There you go. How about some coins? How about some silver? How about you call Texas Bullion Exchange? How about you go to wendylovesgold.com? Ask them about getting a gold-backed IRA. How can I get gold and silver and platinum and palladium in my retirement savings? How do I do that? Do I have to pay outright for it? Or can we like squeeze it in what I already have in my portfolio? Great question for wendylovesgold.com. Hey, how do I get 6% in free silver that Wendy talks about? That is a great question. One that you can have answered by calling 855-927-5557. I think it could be a really good earring, brooch.
Oh, yeah.
Pterodactyl. Sorry. Did you want to play with my silver?
No.
He wants to, but he doesn't want to.
I'll just steal it.
wendylovesgold.com. They're wonderful to deal with. Ah! They're one. So this is how I got some of mine. I think it's 20 of these, and they're, what are they, 50 bucks, 55 bucks?
Oh, so you don't know how many are there? Good to know.
And they come in these cute little, right? It's like Tupperware, but with silver.
It doesn't go bad.
Silver Tupperware. Yes, it doesn't go bad. Right? That's how they come. Super cute. I love silver and gold. wendylovesgold.com. Oh.
Okay, we're going to continuously, slowly walk you into the t-shirt discussion.
Okay.
Don't send Facebook messages.
Yes, and don't email me.
Don't put it in the chat, please. WBR Brock at same place you send pet questions. You said bad jokes. You send messages to me to bitch. WBRBrock@gmail.com. Just put t-shirt in the headline.
Size, cut, color, right?
Yeah, treat it like a diamond.
That's right.
How big do you want it? What color do you want?
What kind of clarity?
Yeah.
Anyway.
What cut do you want?
Oh my gosh, we're almost finished with this hour. What the heck? This woman is so interesting to me. This reporter doing the digging. There are a lot of good people out there. They're coming out of the woodwork. Journalism might not be dead. Just the networks. Well,
mainstream.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You guys, there's some actual reporting going on. Some inquisitive people are digging. They want answers. Apparently, there's a run on like records requests in California. The people of California are so distrusting of what's going on in the General Assembly. They're so distrusting of what's coming out of the governor's office. They're so distrusting of the LA mayor's debacle that they're going to sources and filling out appropriate paperwork to get records that should be open records to all of us. You shouldn't have to pay to get a transcript of something or to get a record of the way that your money is being spent. So you remember the program we told you guys about? It was that free diaper program. And we had said, hey, you could go to Costco with the money that they're spending and get twice as many diapers as this program that Gavin Newsom said it's like some $100 million project, right? And the taxpayers are funding it. Well, where's the money going to? Who's going to be providing this service? And we found out that it was one of Jennifer Newsom's friends who runs this baby-to-baby nonprofit that got this bid. Well, a reporter for CBS Investigates, started going in and putting the records requests in. Hey, show me all of the different bids for this contract that went to this baby-to-baby outfit whose owner or, main person is connected to Jennifer Newsom. This is the runaround she got. They're not used to, guys. The swamp is not used to you being involved, awake, aware, and active. They do not know what to do when you ask for details. Here's this woman. Her name is Julie Watts, putting together what she said was a request for details.
40 million diapers, as many diapers will be distributed this year as Californians. That was Governor Gavin Newsom about 2 months ago at a press conference announcing California's new free diaper program and a multi-million-dollar contract with the nonprofit Baby to Baby. But immediately critics pointed out that his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, also had a relationship with at least one of the co-CEOs.
Sits on Jen's board of directors. Gavin Newsom is claiming there was this huge, rigorous process to figure out which group to partner with for this free diaper program. But was it really a rigorous process if you're best friends with the CEO of this company?
So we did a little fact check, and you should definitely go check out the story we did last month. But we could only go so far.
So far, the state will not give us a copy of the contract or the competitive bid scoring sheet.
4 days after that very high-profile press conference, we simply asked the governor's office for a copy of that contract that everyone was talking about. They told us, reach out to California Health and Human Services. They told us the contracts were with yet another agency. That agency told us our request had been received. That means legally, they had a maximum of 10 days to tell us whether or not we're going to get them. Exactly 10 days later, now 14 days after the press conference, the state replies, citing an unusual circumstance clause in the California Public Records Act, giving them another 14 days to decide if these are disclosable records. California law clearly states any executed contract is a public record, and so are competitive bid scoring sheets. Fast forward 14 more days. Spoiler alert, they are disclosable records, but the state would need another 3 to 4 weeks to get us copies. Translation, the state waited 24 days to promptly notify us that it would need another 28 days to get us a copy of that contract that the governor announced nearly 2 months ago.
It's all about stonewalling and slow walking and subverting. Here's the conclusion.
Then, the day we were finally supposed to get the records, July 3rd, a state holiday, the Newsom administration told us they would need 2 more weeks.
It's unacceptable.
That's Jenny LaRue. She's with the First Amendment Coalition.
You should have had it in your hands the day they were talking about it.
She argues documents like state contracts shouldn't even require a public records request.
Do you think there's a world where state agencies just automatically upload all contracts?
I think there's a world where we make them do that.
That's State Senator Tom Umberg. He knows a bit about this issue.
Thank you, Assemblymember Pacheco, for bringing lots and lots of attention to this subject.
The Senate Judiciary Chair was instrumental in gutting a bill that would have let state agencies charge you hourly fees and even sue someone for requesting public information.
People shouldn't have to pay to get information from public officials.
Now, the amended version of the bill does give agencies even more time to respond to your public records request. Assemblywoman Pacheco argues they need it.
Agencies across the state are experiencing a sharp increase in requests that are exceptionally broad.
Meanwhile, we're still waiting for that baby-to-baby contract, now 60 days and counting.
And here we are.
For CBS California Investigates, I'm Julie Watts.
It's huge. They're not used to people asking questions, and they're not used to providing proof. Ladies and gentlemen, America is suspicious. When we come back, the walls close in on the leakers, and the New York Times gets sphinctered up. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I thought that was freaking fascinating. One, you've got a CBS reporter who's going after this, hitting it. You've got until this amount of time. Slow walk, stonewall, run out the clock. This is what they're doing. It's exactly what the Clintons wanted to do with their subpoena, right? Well, if I don't respond for a while, then you'll have to actually come to my house and serve me. Well, maybe 2 months passed by then. It's 2 more months of living free. And the number of people who are asking for requests, who are looking into these open records, show us what the bid was. Show us what other companies offered competing contracts, competing bids. How did you select this woman? Where does the money go? 100%. 100%. And that is going to absolutely screw Gavin Newsom. If he thinks he's going to be the candidate for president, he can kiss it goodbye. I say not a chance. He's going to be sweating. And he probably would like the cooling technology of a ghost bed. That's all I'm thinking.
Wouldn't everybody?
Right now, when you're sweating at night, you're up at night and you're like, dang it, the walls are closing in. Yeah, they are, Gav. Yeah, they are. And this is why you might want a ghost bed. I'm going to tell you, if it's been, 10 years since you've replaced your mattress, Don't even try to touch it. Don't even try to move it because it's going to be 1,000 pounds. And you're going to be like, what happened? How do I get rid of this thing and get a new mattress? Well, ghostbed.com/Wendy. That's how you start. First of all, made in America, made by a guy who's had chronic problems with his back and neck, multiple surgeries, could never find a mattress that was comfortable. So he's like, fungu, I'm going to do it myself. Creates his own line of mattresses. They're phenomenal. I got mine in the mail. Jack and I took it upstairs. Open it up. It opens up and you let it sit for 24 to 48 hours. And then, oh boy. And then you're going to be kicking yourself because you haven't done it yet. Why did it take so long? Well, it shouldn't. They're giving you an extra 10% off right now. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Use my name as the promo code. You're going to get that 10% off, which is brilliant. No more sweating. 101 nights to sleep on it, risk-free. Who does that? Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy, get that 10% off. Remember, they do RVs, campers, dog beds. I know. Look at us, almost at 4,700. Hi, everybody. Let's see if we can hit 5,000. It's hot in here.
Almost at 300 too.
300 what? Emails? How many more have you gotten today? 50?
78. No. What's 78 minus 15?
65, 60, I don't know.
63.
63. You guys are crazy. And we're super appreciative. Thank you. I will tell you 100%, there is no way I could have done what I did at my house this weekend. Yard work wise, heavy, like digging in really, really hard, dry soil. I could not have gone through that without Blood Flow 7. There's just no way. I would have put down that shovel in a couple hours. I was out there for 6 hours on Saturday and 5 hours yesterday, 4 hours yesterday.
And then you golfed.
And it's just freaking brutal work. So because we put in this back patio that's so freaking beautiful, it gobbled up some of the grass footprint. And so I moved a bunch of plants further back so we could gobble up some of that real estate for grass when we ultimately put it in. And it's just a backbreaker. I probably dug 25 holes and it just sucks. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. You want stamina, you want energy, you want to not yawn in the middle of the day the way you always do, and then you want to sleep like a boulder. Bloodflow7.com. Nitric oxide is the key, opens up your blood vessels, more blood gets through, more blood gets pumped into your brain, to your heart, all over your body. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. So don't just say, I'm getting old, I'm slowing down. But why? It's a choice. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. 30% off. It's $1, like $1 a day, less than $1 a day. I subscribe to them myself. I don't want to go without.
Can I call someone out?
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
So someone sent me John sent me a text. Now, I can appreciate that you want a shirt.
Oh no.
It says, black crew, please.
Size, John.
I called him a dumbass.
Size, John.
I called him a dumbass. I'm like, great. Size, dumbass. He's like, can I report you to HR? Say, HR already knows you're a dumbass.
Cheza69, love my blood flow. Thank you.
I take it every day.
Wendy, you make me feel old. RW Radical, why? Why? Because you're not taking Blood Flow 7 outside digging holes in the backyard? Why not?
Don't let her fool you. She loves to blow leaves, pick up sticks, and work in the yard and cut the grass. What are you doing today? I'm going to pick up sticks. Why just not run them over with the lawnmower like everybody else in America?
My neighbor finally got his annual yard cleaning yesterday. Literally, the weeds are up to here.
Oh, that neighbor.
I'm 5'7". Literally, the weeds are like this. I'm like, bro. And these are the ones that are those really spiny. They hurt you if you touch them, try to get rid of them. Freaking brutal. They're called something. Death. Satan's wand. That's what they're called.
Satan's wand.
I don't know, but they should be because they freaking hurt. They poke through gloves and you're like, dang it. And then they bleed over into my yard. I'm like, look, filthy boy. You want to have a filthy yard? That's rude. So I let Murphy poop over there a couple times. He couldn't see it anyway. Let's just say when he goes over there, I'm not like, get back over here. I'm
Growing up, our neighbor used to have his dog run over to my dad's yard and poop and piss my dad off. And he'd laugh. And I'm like, just throw it back at him.
Yeah.
He'll learn.
Uh-huh.
1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. And I realize that we're getting new listeners, new viewers all the time. And I'm so excited about that. But a little programming note, come August 17th, we're going to be changing times. We're going to be going from noon until 3 Eastern. We're going to bump it ahead or back, I should say, 2 hours to go 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So we'll keep you posted on that, but it's a big move. We're picking up 24 radio stations along the way, and we are super excited about that. So welcome to our family. So glad you're here. All right. So the walls are closing in on the leakers, and there's this very interesting story going on, a conversation that needs to be had. Where does the freedom of the press and protecting sources, where does that end? And where does our national security begin? Where do these two ideas meet in the middle and figure out what is fair and what is dangerous? Because I'm tired of the media, specifically the New York Times in this particular iteration, hiding behind its press protections. You can't force me to expose my sources. And the Trump administration is saying, you're putting the president and the people aboard his aircraft that travel with him, the entourage, you put them all in danger when you leak sensitive things that come from a government insider. And that is where your protections end, where other lives are in danger. And so this is the debate going on. You guys remember last week, we were talking about this Qatari Air Force One, $400 million plane the Qataris made for not President Trump, but for future presidents, right? Well, it's done. And the president flew in it briefly. And then there is this reporting last week that, in fact, no, the new plane doesn't have the same defense program to stave off missiles or drones or whatever it is that might attack the president in the new Air Force One. And so now the FBI is conducting this leak investigation, and it's being overseen by FBI Director Kash Patel into this New York Times reporting regarding Air Force One. And the probe resulted in the issuance of subpoenas to 4 Times journalists. Justice Department defended the subpoenas, and they claim that they target government officials who leaked classified information. We're not going after you, journalists, but we will put you in prison if you are unwilling to share the people inside the government who have been leaking very sensitive and dangerous things to the media, to you, and then ostensibly on to the rest of the country. I want to read you from the New York Times. I mean, think about putting troops in danger. Remember when they had that whole Atlantic thing and Jeffrey Goldblum or whatever the hell his name was, whoever it was, I forget what his name was, who was on that Signal chat and they posted all this stuff. And it's like, at some point, your desire to screw this president and to resist his administration and this whole idea of making America great again, your resisting is putting people, innocent civilians, and the highest echelons of our government in danger. That's not right. So they get these subpoenas, these 4 New York Times reporters, right? New York Times has to cover the story. And I thought we would walk through it together to see if we're all on the same page here. This is important. This is the 2-year anniversary of the assassination attempt at Butler. Do you guys feel like that's been resolved? Did we figure out all of the lapses in security? Did we ever really get to the bottom of how Thomas Crooks was able to fly a drone over that farm show complex the day before the president was set to be there, and yet the Secret Service didn't do the same? Did we ever get to... No, they fired the Kimberly Cheadle girl or whatever her face was, who clearly was either in on it or was woefully ill-prepared to be the head of the Secret Service. President Trump nearly died. Corey Comprator did. Another person injured. We've got nowhere. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. And it's as unacceptable for a Democrat to be in the crosshairs as a Republican. Here's the headline from the New York Times article. I thought we'd read some of it together and see if you're getting actual fair treatment here. White House Director Patel directed Patel to oversee investigation involving Times reporting. The FBI director spent about 8 hours at the White House Friday focused on the effort, which led to the subpoenaing of several Times reporters who wrote about the security of Air Force One. At some point, somebody who's a grown-up at the New York Times has to hit the brakes and be like, yo, this is putting people in danger. We've become too rabid. And now we're almost creating opportunities for this president to be murdered. And that has to draw a line. Somebody has to have the huevos to draw that line. Here's the article. The White House directed Kash Patel, FBI director, to oversee a leak investigation into reporting by the New York Times about security issues with the new Air Force One, leading to a flurry of subpoenas to several Times reporters Friday night, according to people with knowledge of the situation. Stop it with that. Stop it with that. According to people with knowledge of the situation is not attribution. That's hiding. That's hiding. Enough is enough. The New York Times, in the first freaking paragraph, have to hide behind anonymous sources. Unacceptable. Mr. Patel scuttled a planned trip to Chicago and spent roughly 8 hours at the White House on Friday. They're freaking taking this seriously. No more leaks. Running the investigation from there rather than the FBI headquarters. Interesting. A major departure from historical practice. Maybe the FBI is as trustworthy as these freaking people at the New York Times. Mr. Patel also briefed senior administration officials on the investigation, 2 people said. 2 people. Who? Where's Waldo and Mitch McConnell's ghost? Who are they? The people spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe sensitive internal discussions. Isn't this whole process, isn't that what we're talking about? If everything can be created by an anonymous source, nobody is identified, reporters can then be like, wow, this is my protection as a reporter. I don't have to divulge my sources. That silence is the freedom of the press. It has a chilling effect on people who blow the whistle, or it'll stop fake news from having actual consequences. The White House's deep involvement in the case came about after officials said President Trump was enraged about the coverage of the Qatari-donated plane, which the Times reported Thursday lacks the same defensive countermeasures of the previous Air Force One. Mr. Trump flew on the new jet to a NATO meeting in Turkey earlier in the week, but was forced to change to the old plane when he departed because of Secret Service concerns, as the Times reported on Wednesday. We also hear of a possible plot, right? Foiled by what? Israel? About some Iranian plot to kill the president and to use this particular trip to NATO and perhaps use the new plane, ostensibly with the president and a bunch of other people aboard, and blow them out of the sky. Now, again, where does the media, speaking as a former television news anchor and reporter, where do the rights to protect your sources and your ability to be shielded when you create stuff, fake news, or actually have somebody deep within the administration who's leaking you things? Where does that line, where do you go? In response to a request for comment, Stephen Chung, the White House communication director, said that President Trump is laser focused on helping the American people and keeping them safe. That will always be his priority. Emily Covington, the director of the Justice Department's Office of Public Affairs, sought to downplay the unusual nature of the subpoenas, some of which were delivered late Friday night directly to the doors of the reporters' homes. Every administration has addressed the crime of leaking national security information, she said. To the extent that we have to investigate breaches of national security, that is something we will continue to do. And said, to be clear, reporters are not the targets. Those leaking classified information are. So, if you're a reporter and you're covering this stuff and you're covering for somebody inside the administration, are you ready to go to jail? Because that will be the penalty. That is where you are going. No more. We are not playing with you anymore. Consequences for your actions. It's odd, isn't it? It's like we haven't been here before. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, as the New York Times now has to figure out, what are we going to do? We're going to send 4 people possibly to prison? Maybe. You got Marco Rubio having to step in as the head of the State Department and shut down Tim Walz giving a slap on the wrist to a child rapist. Make it make sense, because I'm having a hard time with this. Next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Think about that. You need your Secretary of State to come in and deport a guy who for 2 years raped a 10-year-old girl until she was 12. Okay. And Tim Walz is like, well, he said he was sorry. We really need that vote. Like the in-your-face choices here. Democrats, Republicans. Democrats will leak things to you. They will do things and they will put the president and anybody around him in danger. But that's cost of resisting, I guess. Democrats will bring people in from foreign countries who they know are bad people, who do bad things to our people. Give him a slap on the wrist. Wow. He was having a bad week. Really? Meanwhile, it takes a Republican to come in and be like, dude, you're a scumbag. Get out of my country. How do Democrats reconcile this? I don't know. I see it clear as day, or is that my bias? I don't know. Simkovich Concussion Institute, my friends, the Simkovich Concussion Institute. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. If in 1 week you could regain control of your brain, control of your life, of your emotions, of your anxiety and stress, if in 1 week you could feel like you're back in the driver's seat, that you're in charge of your life, and that brain injury that you got when you fell off the roof, where you got in that car accident, or you got blown up when you were in Iraq or Afghanistan, you could get rid of all of that, fix your brain, mend it, and be in charge. Would you be interested? I would. 412-366-3700. That's what they want from you. A week. Block out a week. Come to Pittsburgh. Sit with us. Get your MRI. Do all the things you need to do in advance. But then we're going to fix you. We're not going to cut you. We're not going to put syringes in you. We're not going to have you have blood, right? There's no blood that comes out of this. It's hands and basically your head, your face. That's what Dr. Simkovich is all about, fixing people who have been injured. Concussion, traumatic brain injury, 412-366-3700.
The Tim Walz story is infuriating because he has a daughter. Like, and I said this to you this morning, what red-blooded male out there, if that had a daughter that was raped, you wouldn't be asking the governor about part. You'd be like, he'd be dead, and I'd gladly I'd make sure they knew it was me, and I'd go like this. Just take me. I'll go. Not Tim Walz. Pardon him. So he can do it again, because guess what? He's going to do it again.
It's all the wrong choices, all the wrong stories, all the wrong people to buddy up to, all the wrong narratives, all the wrong lies. And they're so used to getting away with it. So now when the CBS reporter goes and then it fills out all the requests, these are public records. I should have access to public records. Why are you hiding these from us? Well, we're just getting swallowed by people who want records. Yeah, because they don't trust you.
And on top of that, someone said everything's not a conspiracy. You're right. But when you don't tell the truth and you're holding things back from people, it becomes a conspiracy because you force them.
Show us a video of Mitch McConnell and let's be done with it. Let Scott Jennings walk over there.
Yeah.
Give him a camera guy from CNN, go in to his hospital room, right?
Watch his bedpan.
And do one of these jobbies and be like, I'm happy you're here. I'm glad you're all right. Come back. And by the way, stop being so suspicious. Stop it. There's stuff that needs to get done. If you're not going to be there to get it done, it should not be your auto pen who does it.
You're fussy today.
It's not hard to tell the truth. It is if you're lying, right? It's not hard to open the books unless you're cheating.
Here we go.
You know, it seems simple to me. I'm a simple woman. If you're not dead, show us proof of life. Invite Scott Jennings into your hospital room, Mitch McConnell. Do a 2-minute video with him and be done with it, right? If you're not cheating, if you're not stealing, Gavin Newsom, open the books. Show us the competitive bid process for that baby-to-baby diaper program. Show us why this woman got the contract and what the other bids were. Open the books. You can't. Why? Because you're cheating, because you're stealing, because you're corrupt, because that's the system. And America is done. It's not just that we're suspicious. We've been suspicious for a long freaking time, but it's hard not to be suspicious of everything and everyone because you've been screwed so many times, right? I mean, I want you to consider where the brain was when this guy who was raping a 10-year-old girl for 2 years and was supposed to be deported. Do you really want that guy from Thailand here in your community? No. No, you don't. What do you want? You want that person bounced. I want to talk with Zoran Mamdani, by the way. So as Marco Rubio steps in and deports a guy that Tim Walz basically slapped on the wrist and was like, yeah, I'm sure he's learned his lesson. Now we understand that Zoran Mamdani's people, and Mamdani as the New York's, communist mayor from Uganda, right? I'm sure he's got everything that you want in his mind. No, he doesn't. Apparently his team has tried to set up a meeting with Iran's ambassador to the United Nations. Why would mayor of New York be sitting down with Iran's ambassador to the United Nations? Why would that be allowed to happen? Well, Marco Rubio again has to step in and be like, yeah, about that. In no way is that going to happen ever anytime soon. Shut it down. So Zoran Mamdani tries to downplay that his top officials attempted to set up a meeting with him and this ambassador guy as the GOP is demanding answers. There's a little bit of news coverage to this. This is Fox reporting on this as the mayor is asked about this meeting. Why would you want to be talking to Iran? You want to be talking to the people that hate us and want to kill this president? Really? Listen.
New York City Mayor's office is under fire after Zohran Mamdani's International Affairs Commissioner reportedly made plans to meet with Iran's UN ambassador earlier this week. The timing could not have been worse. And the New York Post reporting this, the scheduled meeting would have unfolded after Iranian troops fired missiles at 2 commercial ships traversing the Strait of Hormuz. An action Monday in direct defiance of an interim peace agreement between the U.S. and Iran. Mayor Mamdani was asked about this at a news conference today. Watch.
That meeting did not take place. It will not take place. And I did not know about it until there was a press inquiry regarding it. And when it comes to the work of our commissioner and our international affairs office, it's to ensure that as we are a city of the world, that we are also there to meet with leaders from across the world. The focus is always on our city and our relationship. The commissioner recognizes that this was made an error, and we're working on a new process in terms of new meeting requests.
A new process? What about competence?
How about, what about competence? What about that? We haven't fired that person who created the invitation to Iran's ambassador to come and chat with me. I don't know what's scarier, that that's actually what's going on, or that Mayor Mamdani alleges that he had no idea. Like, what? You know, the whole socialist thing, which is really a misnomer because socialism is bogus. It's communism. Socialism is just making it sound a little bit more palatable, right? It's that gas chamber, but we're going to set it up to look like it's a shower. So it's really comfortable and nice, and you're going to go in there and get clean. Actually, you're going to get killed. But, we're going to set it up so it's something better. That's how I feel with that. This guy is not an American patriot. He is a guy who fundamentally wants to change the biggest city in America, which is already struggling and going down the crapper. And how did we get there? Well, college-educated young people who got stuck with unaffordability, which is a real thing. Look at Joe Biden and what they did. Gas prices aren't helping right now, Mr. President. We're pissed at wealthy people who want to take it out on somebody. And so the shiny metal object that comes in and says, hey, we'll fight for you. We'll take it from the rich people. We'll give it to you. Why would you have to work? Don't worry about it. Just go be a community activist. Go organize your street. We'll fight for you. They have no idea that they are actually being led to that gas chamber. You're being led to your own slaughter. And Mayor Mamdani, right? I didn't know, is really freaking scary, if you believe it, which we don't. America is suspicious. We question everything. I trust no one. And maybe that's an unfortunate admission, or maybe it's just being smart. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Nick Shirley does New York City with Dr. Oz. Oh my, the Chinese and the Korean mafia there were not pleased. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Like, what are you doing that's of benefit to anybody in New York? Well, one could say the same thing about Gavin Newsom. And he's not a Democrat, socialist, or a communist. He's just a greedy capitalist who wants to stay in power and be rich in perpetuity. Everybody else did it. Look at the Clintons. Look at the Bidens. Look at the Bushes. Look at the Cheneys. Oh, my gosh.
Just think of it this way. Like, the common sense to obviously you can't talk to a socialist or someone who believes in it, has never lived it. Just the common sense of it. Answer me one question. What happens when you run out of rich people's money?
What happens then?
Stop thinking today and think 10 years from now. When those people have shielded their money, moved, whatever, where's it going to go then? Where's the money going to come from then?
Do you know what? And there's so much, Brock, there's so much outside the box earning potential. Like, I don't think Brock and I had a clue in the world what we were going to be able to earn doing this thing by ourselves. Sort of like my son, when he started, pimping our social media and manage our social media. He had no idea that all these other businesses out there, of which there are tens of millions, need help with their social media profiles, need help with their clicks, and how do we get more people paying attention to us? Michael's been able to parlay that into a business. My son Jack is working at Stinky's as a bartender, not realizing that at the end of the day, the cold hard cash that you walk away with is freaking huge. So there's avenues of wealth everywhere. You don't have to take it from other people. You can actually go put your flag in the sand and earn it yourself. It's an amazingly empowering thing. Right?
You're only stopped by your ability not to try.
100%.
You know, like, just use us as an example. When we started this, most people wouldn't take a hit on radio for 5 years to build it up to be able to make. There's a 5-year investment of complete loss in radio financially, right? To be able to.
What he's telling you is we never made money doing this on radio, ever.
Ever.
We did it. We literally did it for free for proof of concept. That's you. That's this. We're just going to be able to start monetizing radio. 5 years. That's crazy.
and not cheap. No, it's not cheap to do this.
It's super expensive. But, you know, we saw an avenue. We saw something that wasn't being fulfilled. There was a gap. I'm certainly not filling anybody else's shoes, but so we put our flag in the sand. We're like, all right, let's do this. And now look at him. He's bitching because he has to do t-shirts. Too soon. What are you up to with numbers? I might run to the bathroom.
I hope you wet yourself.
I'm going to run to the bathroom.
Oh, no, please. Trying to figure out how many. We're up to 289 emails. And a lot of your emails aren't just one t-shirt. And yes, I get frustrated because it's time consuming. But it is also gratifying to think that you guys want that many. So, like, yes, I get frustrated and I get irritable when I sit there on a Sunday for 6 hours doing this. I've never used a spreadsheet before. I've never had a need to use a spreadsheet. So I had to learn that yesterday on how to build and use a spreadsheet. And trust me, after about an hour, I hit the wrong button and went away. So I had to rebuild it. So yes, I get frustrated, but outside of my frustration, there's much appreciation that from you guys that you would want any of the merch. And it's as frustrated as I can get. I truly do appreciate it. I forgot to tell you it about an hour into me setting up a spreadsheet that I'd never done before.
Mm-hmm.
I hit the wrong button. And look, poof, gone. Had to rebuild it. Thanks for the yeah.
You're drinking water. Why aren't you drinking this? If you have significant weight to lose, or you have problems with cravings, you have problems, you want to see the needle moving on the scale. Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds drinking this. There's a video that accompanies it. thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. So many of your health questions, so many of your diet questions, your food questions are answered in this one pivotal video. And it is through that video that you have access to buy Dr. Gundry's The Healthy Fat, the MCT Wellness. Scoop in water, phenomenal, delicious. I crave it, and it kills my cravings for food. Just does. I get to skip a meal. That's huge. when you're trying to lose weight, 70 pounds. Dr. Gundry, try it. thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, period. I love it. I personally know it works because I'm not sitting here eating Cheez-Its. An absolute opposite on the left, and I'm not blinded by the corruption and the garbage on the right either, but I find it extraordinarily common and pervasive on the left. I just do, and I call it out every single day. You cannot tell me that people who are against Nick Shirley are on the good side of this. You can't tell me that people in government who are against Doge, who were against the illumination and exposure of, at a minimum, a couple $100 billion of our money being used in ways that is pure fraud. People who are against you and myself knowing these things, these people are on the wrong side of what I believe America is all about. I have a personal vengeful feeling for these individuals because in no world should you suffer. In no world should an American citizen go to bed without a roof or go to bed hungry. So that how many foreign people in this country can get rich and send money back to their homeland? They can all suck it. And if I could ship them all away right now, I don't care about your sob story. But they're such a good person in our community. Their children go to my son's school. I don't care. I'm tired of American citizens needing or wanting anything in the land of plenty so that others can steal and send back to their homeland. I'm tired of America being the world's piggy bank. I'm tired of us being the innovators of all ideas that get stolen from us. I'm tired of our children watching their upbringing in this world today. And I'm talking with 5 adult sons, watching them struggle so that other people from other countries can enjoy the spoils of corruption. And that Nick Shirley would be a bad guy. Nick and Dr. Oz have teamed up under this umbrella with J.D. Vance, right? It's meaningful. It's important. It's exposure. Every single city. From San Diego to Minneapolis, now New York City. And they walk through just one street, one block. And it's like this Chinatown, Koreatown, all these foreign businesses, all these Asian, things on the signs. And a bunch of pharmacies. How is it possible that there's 25 pharmacies on one block unless it's a total grift? Audio soundbite 1, the obscene number of these adult daycares and pharmacies. Only a moron wouldn't look at that and say, something's going on here.
So I'm going to blow your mind. You ready? Hold on tight. Double-digit number of pharmacies. How many pharmacies do you need on this little strip of terrain in Flushing? Come on, I'll show you this. You can't even believe this is true unless you see it. There's a strip there. There are more than half a dozen pharmacies, back to back to back. The question is, how many pharmacies do you need back to back to back to back? Now, if I was running a restaurant, I might think about it because it's, a food court. This is like a pharmacy court. So, we got one here.
One right there.
Number 2, another pharmacy. Again, the question becomes, how many do you actually need? Another pharmacy. I'm losing track, but there's
now
more.
We're at 4.
Yeah, it's like a game show.
So right here we have another adult daycare. Look
Across
at this.
the street.
Across the street.
And
we have
again, more pharmacies.
More pharmacies.
I mean, after a while, you start to realize something's not right. And then you actually look at the books, the finances, which is my job, and we see billions of dollars being spent on social adult daycare, which it seems inconceivable. The spot we just walked into, they have 15 people. He says they see 25 people a day. What if I could run a business that made millions of dollars and seeing 15, 25 people not doing anything except playing, video games and mahjong and some yoga?
And that's exactly what they're finding. And then with the language barrier in these communities, this is in the Flushing neighborhood of what is it, the Queens in New York. predominantly Asian, right? And then they pretend, I don't know what you're saying. Well, if you don't know what I'm saying, how the hell are you getting U.S. taxpayer money to do anything? And how many people out there are debilitated, ladies and gentlemen? Look, I worked with adults and children with physical and mental limitations, okay? You mean to tell me that they've got that's that much need for adults with some semblance of need for medical help? Daycare in New York that would involve dozens of these businesses? Come on. Dr. Oz and Nick Shirley then say, he goes, look, the American taxpayer pays billions of dollars to what clearly is this cash cow business, the same way that autism is in Minneapolis, the same way that daycare fraud and stuff is in Southern California. Adult daycares and pharmacies all run by Chinese and Korean mafias. What?
Another pharmacy right here.
Come on. We're double digits now. It's like the kids in the back of the seat pointing out the obvious. Everywhere you look, there's something having to do with healthcare. And what again is mind-blowing is there is no way you would build a facility, a street, and think you'd have more than 10 pharmacies on it. I don't think you go anywhere in America and think that was normal, unless there was a cash cow business that was feeding into it, which again raises our concerns that there's something here that doesn't meet the eye. And you look around, these folks tend to be from China and Korea. They don't want us here. We're from the outside. They don't share our culture. Getting these folks to talk to us about what is going on here has been really difficult.
We have another pharmacy.
Of course.
And essentially all these people need is a medical beneficiary number, and that is worth more than any credit card that a senior can give anybody.
Some of the drugs in these pharmacies cost more than a car. Think about that.
They don't want us here? Get out of my country! I'm sorry, not sorry, not sorry. And then asking simple questions causes the people who run at least one adult daycare to freak. So it's called Palace Daycare, New York City. They collected $9.4 million last year by allegedly handling 8,000 different patients. But when Nick and Dr. Oz show up on camera to ask the staff for their actual daily numbers, the math immediately falls apart. The manager fakes a phone call to try to hide from the questions. And then the staff finally comes forward. They say, you know what? Most of them were just hired within the last month, and they have no idea because they don't see anyone. Listen.
Who owns the business?
The boss, the owners, I'm not sure. Yeah.
You must know who owns the business.
We just have the managers and the owners. I really don't know.
Have you ever met the owners?
No, not yet.
Who's managing the business?
The director is the ladies. Yeah, but I really don't know about that.
You don't know who employs you?
No. I just hired them last month.
Well, who hired you?
The managers too.
And how long have you all been working here?
A month.
All a month? What happened to people who were here before last month?
I have no idea.
They all left?
Yeah.
Why would everybody leave in 1 month? I mean,
you mean the patient or the members?
The people working here. If you all started last month.
The staff.
The staff.
No. When I came here, I just met them, and they are already set up. So I really don't know about that.
And did you all started working here last month?
I mean, please. How absolutely ridiculous. How completely obvious. That is one of hundreds. Your money. Going to serve whom exactly? Now, see, there's no news reporting on Nick Shirley and Dr. Oz. There's no network station that showed up. There's no reporter that was tagging along. I found no stories, mainstream news about this. I did find one. Tag24.com, Dr. Oz and MAGA reporter Nick Shirley launched, quote, war on fraud in New York City senior daycares, Korean and Chinese mafias. This is how unscrupulous people run interference for the people who are stealing your money. On Friday, Nick Shirley shared a nearly hour-long video on YouTube in which he claims to uncovered $190 million in fraud at social adult daycare centers and pharmacies across Flushing, a Queens neighborhood that's home to predominantly Korean and Chinese communities. One of these largest fraud schemes in America is taking place in New York City as billions are being defrauded by organized Korean and Chinese mafias, along with other foreigners operating and stealing taxpayer dollars, Shirley said in the clip. He's then seen visiting several daycares and telling staff that he wants to sign his grandmother up for services. After getting himself into their buildings, he then begins hounding them about concerns about their financial disclosures. Many of the facility staff members appear confused, weary, and caught off guard as English does not seem to be their first language. Some realize they're being filmed, and others admitted they're not knowledgeable about the financial data of the facility. Later in the video, Shirley is joined by Dr. Oz, who makes a number of wild claims, such as how durable medical suppliers grow like vermin because, quote, it's easier to open one than a bank account. He says it's very hard for law enforcement to stay caught up on the fraud, but he has it figured out. And then he goes on to Nick Shirley's rise to MAGA fame. Do you really think it matters what Nick Shirley's political ideology is? I haven't seen him talk about being a part of MAGA at all. I haven't heard him say he's a conservative. I haven't heard him say that he's a huge Trump supporter. I've heard him say that there's a hell of a lot of money being wasted in America's biggest cities and that our government lets it happen. I've seen him get called to the White House to be part of a fraud task force roundtable discussion so we can stop freaking paying all these other people to take our money overseas to their countries. Why on earth would you go after the guy who's exposing the fraud unless you're part of it, ladies and gentlemen? Where's the critical thought? Where's the news coverage? Where's the wall-to-wall? Hey, whoosh, Fox breaking news. It's a breaking news alert. More of your money is being... It's just so obvious. This is what's going on every single day. It's not just happening in New York and San Diego and San Francisco. It's happening in Pittsburgh. It's happening in Dayton. It's happening in smaller suburbs outside of Cleveland. It's everywhere. And yet, for some reason, a lot of people don't want you to know about it. Can you imagine what our national debt would be? What our taxes would be? If we once and for all stop paying for everybody else's grift? Nothing from New York. Where's Zoran? Oh, that's right. He didn't know about the Iranian ambassador that they were trying to hook up with. Got it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about this, my friends. They are so working hard in Los Angeles not to work. If you're a city council member there, you make almost $250,000. And they only want to work 1 day a week. Did you hear this? Oh boy, next.
Once again, something we talked about this morning. I don't understand how the Democrats can stand up there and say there's an affordability crisis, but say, keep the grift going. It makes no sense. Like, it logically doesn't make any sense. None.
Nothing is affordable anymore, but let's get down with Doge. Elon Musk is a Nazi. What? The poster child of your climate alarmism who went out and made America's the world's biggest electric car maker. That's that guy. You guys, yeah, that guy. That's what there's nothing here. I don't understand if you're a Democrat, how you look at this and you're like, those are my people. I love them. I love that team of mine. And then the next hour, we're going to talk about the Thai guy, the Thai rapist. Your governor lets go a serial rapist, a child rapist, back into the community because you think he's learned his lesson. There's one lesson there. They're not going to stop. What are you doing? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And to Brock's point, people with daughters? People with daughters. I don't understand. All right, let me tell you guys about Tulip Blooms. Tulip Blooms is pretty amazing. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. And this is something I noticed today when I put on my, I do the castor oil on my abdomen because it's really good for organs and everything. It absorbs into your skin. It's magnificent. But I use the face serum, the blue one. Do I have it? I don't think I have it in here. On my neck. And then I use the velour on my arms. It just gives you this, like, not just the softness, but there's like a little sheen, like a little pop to your skin. And you notice it. You feel it. And you feel like you've treated your skin to something truly decadent. And it stays with you all day long. I can use the velour massaging oil on my hands, which is what feels like, oh my gosh, you just got back from a pedicure or manicure. Rub it in. You can wash your hands after going to the bathroom multiple times, and it's still soft. It's still absorbed into your skin. It's just the most beautiful skincare products I've used. And I'm hooked. They're mine. Love them. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. My name gets you extra 10% off. The products are phenomenal. Great gift idea for anybody in your life, male, female, right? Everybody likes skin that feels good and looks good. Tulip Blooms. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy.
I've thought of another design for a t-shirt.
Oh, geez.
On the back. Either promo code Wendy or /Wendy.
It's /Wendy. Can I say? I love it. This stuff is...
I like it too.
I'm telling you what, though. This castor blend...
I don't have that.
Hold on. I probably... it is just all that. And it's super hard to take castor oil and refine it and get all the impurities out of it. It's this whole deal. And it just...
I just use the stuff I put in my car. I put a little dab on my neck. And
it's just... And it's got this slightest aroma that just smells clean. Like you just got out of a spa. I'm like, bring it. How many of you out there have jobs that make $230,000 a year that only require you to show up like a couple times a week? That's a great gig if you can get it. Well, if you're a Democrat, that's the only way basically you're going to get it. LA City Council. Wow. NewYorkPost.com. Los Angeles City Council members earning nearly $250,000 per year want to only meet 1 day per week as the city faces growing crises. It makes perfect sense, right? I don't want to show up and hear from angry residents. I don't want to hear from another Palisades person about their burned down home. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it. That's sort of their mentality. Isn't that gross? This is their job, is to listen to the people. The council, whose base salaries start, their base salaries, Brock, start at $245,000 a year. What?
I'm moving.
I'm telling you what. And it can climb as high as $270,389. What? Voted 12-0 on June 30th in favor of putting on the November ballot a measure slashing the city charter's minimum requirement. That's code for we're supposed to be here X amount of time a week. We're going to change that. We're going to pocket it into some great bill. It's like the fairness of all such and such act. And we're going to put that in there as a ballot measure. And we're going to dress it up and put lipstick on that pig so everybody thinks they're doing something that's really good and altruistic. But really, we're just not going to show up for work ever. One member of the 15-member council, one member, Monica Rodriguez, walked out of these negotiations in protest. 2 others were absent for the vote, so it was 12-0. One of those pushing the change, Katie Yaroslavsky, moaned, "She's always working. I just can't do it anymore. It's so hard." Oh, wait, you mean being that working mom thing is complicated? Yeah, no, duh, Katie. Welcome to the party. Remember, you guys are the ones that are like, go to college, girls, get your degrees, go out there. Oh, yeah, and then when you want to have a baby, well, you're the one who's really going to have to struggle with that, but good luck. Come on, Katie. Critics were quick to leap on the proposal. Councilwoman Rodriguez claimed her fellow members were just being lazy and saying it's being hated by the public. It would be hated by the public for us to not agree to sit here and to be in session as often as possible to hear the grievances of our people. We're the second largest city in the country. You mean to tell me that we can't get this done? Council meetings are where some of the city's biggest decisions become law, with members voting on billion-dollar budgets, police funding, homelessness programs, housing projects, and major developments. You know, all those city council meetings where people go up and they get their 5 minutes and they get to address the council. Yeah, we don't want to do that anymore, these people say. It's almost like we have this crass laziness in public office phenomenon. It's like the Fonnie Willis, Nathan Wade. Let's just travel the world. Come on, baby. I'll pay you for 24 hours a day of work, and you and I will cash in. We'll go to St. Croix. Oh, yeah. We'll go on a cruise to the Bahamas. Maybe even hit Hawaii once or twice. You and me, babe. Literally, this is what governance looks like in these cities and towns that scratch their head and like, what happened? Why is everybody moving away? Currently, they can last these meetings anywhere from 2 hours to 8 hours, depending on the complexity of the subject. This is where the public can come in and talk. And they act as a forum for residents to publicly hold officials to account. The idea that members of this council would ask the public to grant them less days of showing up for work for council meetings is tone deaf, the one woman, Rodriguez, who walked out, said. This is exactly what's going to happen now. This is exactly what's going on in Sacramento, where the reporter for CBS is like, hey, this diaper program to give California moms free diapers that are way more expensive than if moms got the cash and went to Costco or Sam's Club and bought them for their babies themselves. I'd like to have those documents. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you're going to get access to that. Hey, look, blue cities and blue states, if you don't see what's going on in New York City right now, if you don't see what's going on in Los Angeles right now, it's coming to you. And with the rise of the Democrat socialists, my friends, of course, it's going to be even better. Did you hear what their platform is? How they feel about the Senate? How they feel about the president? How they feel as Democrats, socialists / communists about the Supreme Court, how they feel about open borders, what they think about immigrants. And if people who are here from other countries murder American citizens, well, that's just part of it. You think I'm kidding? You're going to hear it for yourself coming up. In fact, hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on the flip side of this break. There is no single other story today that better encapsulates the left's dangerous and wrong priorities than Tim Walz giving basically a pardon to a serial child rapist from Thailand because, well, make it make sense. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Did you know that there's a Freedom Grand Prix? Freedom 250 Grand Prix event? I didn't either. Apparently, the president is expected to be there. I guess the Grand Prix is riding around the National Mall.
Drive fast, take chances.
You know, it's interesting. Democrats resist. Trump is trying to celebrate. What was the story you told me about Pennsylvania today? And how they had the big fair, the big America's.
They won Best in Show for all the obviously 50 states or 50 some.
They looked at all of the various states and hey, you get this amount of space, right, on the National Mall. Every state gets a banner, gets a room. You decorate it the way you wish. Whatever is the 250 years of your state's history, if you have it, you probably don't. We do. And Josh Shapiro, our governor, was like, yeah, I don't know.
Nobody wants to be involved.
Nobody wants to be a part of this 250 celebration anyway. And John Fetterman and Dave McCormick, our senators from Pennsylvania, were like, what?
And they found people within hours.
And it had the place decked out. There's a video tour you could take of it. A lot of American flags. There's a replica of the Liberty Bell. A bunch of different things from like the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
You know, why would you want Pennsylvania to be involved? It was like almost the first capital.
Right.
Considered the first capital.
Right.
Like,
And so then they put on this, they go and they have awards for, you know, the
Prize
states
pig.
the prizes for who did the best job. And I guess Pennsylvania, McCormick, and Fetterman basically can get this award for, hey, thanks for showing up when your own governor wouldn't. It's America. It's not political, you putz.
By the way, someone sent me an email because yesterday we talked about having wanting Fetterman
Yes.
on and not being able to get
Can't find
connected.
him. Yeah, can't find him.
And said, hey, why don't all the listeners email Fetterman's office
I
and
would
say,
totally love that.
go on the Wendy Bell show, go on the Wendy.
She's trying to get you.
Yeah, be respectful. But if you guys could do that,
Well, we have to figure out what the email is. So I don't want to just put it out there without us all knowing which one we're going to send it to.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's a great thing. We can find it in this break or what have you. But yeah, isn't that weird? I can't imagine why he wouldn't come on and talk to me. You know? Let's see. I'll look at the same time. Let's see. Senator John Fetterman. Email address. Well, it's going to be super easy, right? Let's see.
we are now over 300.
Share your thoughts with John. So it looks like fetterman.senate.gov. But that's their intake form. I don't know. That's vexing.
One of you guys sent me an email yesterday, I believe. I can't find it. If you were the person who sent it to me, please send it again.
Who was saying what?
They sent it with the link.
Oh, to his
I can't find it.
Because you only have 7,000 emails since then. Ireland contracting, you guys. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. I'm going to have Dan out. Dan is finally going to finish the backyard landscape lights. Can't wait. Ireland's just a good Pittsburgh family. Just strong, hardworking family. They grew their family and their business at the same time. And it's a true labor of love. They do everything from new roofs, new windows, gutters, soffit and fascia, new siding. They also do patios, decks, really beautiful stuff. And their son, Dan, is an electrician. And so if you need an electrician and you're in Southwestern land before time, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. It's a no-brainer. He makes it so easy. I just send him a message and I'm like, hey, I'd love to have you come out. It gives me some times. What's good for you? Okay, I'll see you then. And then he's there. This isn't supposed to be complicated, right? I love it.
Fetterman.senate.gov//contact. I pinned a comment.
Fetterman.senate.gov/contact.
Yes. On the Rumble stream chat.
You know, and I think all we're trying to do is, and you can give them my email address, wendybellradio@gmail.com. I'm trying to get in touch with you. And even if we had 25 or 50 people do that, that lights up somebody's switchboard. That lights up his email. And they'd be like, what's going on here? And look, I'd love to have him on the show.
I'm thinking at least 300 of you. If you can send me an email about a t-shirt.
You can lobby on my behalf.
Yes.
Fetterman.senate.gov /contact. You know? And if any of you knows anything about me, and I know you do, you know what kind of person I am with interviews. So it's not like I'm going to jump all over him. But I am interested. I'd love to go to Washington, D.C. and see his environment. I mean, I wouldn't ask for that, but it'd be great to talk to him. I'm going to have to text John Fredericks now later and be like, so no get back to you, or you didn't get back to me?
Oh, way to call him out.
Well, I asked him for help and he said he would help, and I never heard back. But in his defense, I didn't reach back out to inquire, so it's not his fault.
I got the same response from someone about Fetterman that you got from John Fredericks. Of he's real sketch on giving out contact information.
100% agreed. I don't like people having my contact information, my cell phone for sure. And the Republican Party here in Pennsylvania apparently has shared it with everybody. We were talking about this one rep the other day who wore the flag jacket and got the boot from the House floor. And he texted me in real time. And I was like, I don't know you. Why are you texting me? Apparently, I guess they think they can. Okay. So I'm going to call John Fetterman at home.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hour number 3 is live and on the clock, and I'm so delighted to be with you. WendyBellRadio.com. If you'd like to join the live video stream and see what we look like, join the chat. Always welcome to have you. Here's a question for you. What percentage of the issues that you have, deep-rooted issues, things that psychologically have wounded you, critical things that have shaped who you are and how you respond to scenarios, how much of that came from your childhood? Like almost all of it, right? We drag wounds with us from childhood into every single aspect of our lives. And a lot of people require counseling, therapy to try to get through things, to have better relationships. There's no denying that what happens to you as a child, things that are as small as if you're raised by a mom who's a snuggler, right? It changes how you are as you get older. If you were cuddled and kissed and felt you were made to feel special in a tender way by your parents, you're different when you become an adult and you have kids of your own. It's part of who you are. I'm going to argue. Similarly, if something terrible happens to you as a child, you can compartmentalize it. You can build a wall around it. You can put it on a shelf, but it always has a way of coming to the surface. And so much of psychology is based on the childhood formative years. And there's so much emphasis parenting-wise on that establishment of a connection with children. You establish the rules, the roles, and the safety that is so necessary for a child to have. That being said, can you imagine if you found out a child on your block, someone you know, had been sexually assaulted? Can you imagine how you would feel knowing that? Can you imagine how they would feel? I can't. I don't know if I would let myself understand that. But that there was a little girl who was raped repeatedly by a man from another country. And that man was arrested and brought up on charges and was going to be deported and had a hearing. And that he wasn't roundly at the moment, rounded up and put on a freaking plane. I'd like to do far worse to that man than just get rid of him. I'd like to get rid of him, if you know what I mean. This is one of those stories that it defies all logic and reason and humanity. And I think goes back to the argument that so many of the Democrats who've put us in danger for immigrants, this is a stain they're not going to be able to wash off. This is a headline from the Washington Examiner, because this is another example where Marco Rubio had to step forward as the head of the State Department and basically fix a wrong that happened in Minnesota at the highest levels. Rubio reveals child rapist, controversially pardoned by Walls, has been deported from the United States. Hell yeah. This is one victory. And think about the millions of others that need to happen. Secretary of State Marco Rubio Friday said a child rapist from Minnesota was deported from the country after Governor Tim Walz's pardon of the sex offender removed the criminal sexual conduct conviction underlying his deportation order. You pardoned a sex offender who raped a child, who raped her for years. And then when the story was coming out, tried to bribe her with a $10 bill and then sloughed it off as being just cultural. Well, in my culture, Thailand, I think it is, we take young girls as our wives at a very young age and start having sex with them. Well, that's one of the major problems, ladies and gentlemen, when cultures collide with open borders. It's like Haitians eating people's cats. That didn't happen. Hell, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Look, whatever you want to do in your culture, I'm not there to be in your country. But you ought not be in mine. And then you shouldn't have the highest levels of leadership in a state-run interference for abject deviance. What are we doing? Democrats, why are you okay with this? There should be an absolute reversal of registrations from the Democrat Party. Look, am I pleased with everything going on with the Republicans? No. I think John Thune is a jerk and a dirtbag who's been paid off by these open borders people, right? But these pro-immigration people. He's gotten $1.5 million from them that we reported last week. We know this. But please, look at what your leaders are doing. Walz was on the 3-person panel that pardoned Tu Lu Vang in June, around a week before he was set to be deported from the United States following his apprehension by the Department of Homeland Security. Oh, you mean ICE had to get him? The ICE that the socialists want to defund. Kick them out like the police. Open up all the prisons. Open up the border. Let it just be, it'll be like Woodstock. We'll all we won't shave our armpits anymore and we'll have sex in the grass and get high on LSD that the government gives us. I mean, what could go wrong? So your ICE agents who are vilified and demonized, protect your neighbors from ICE, are the ones that found, right, that this little girl was raped for 2 years. Amid the backlash, pardon, of course, stoking controversy as Vang was convicted of sex crimes against a 10-year-old girl, which he pled guilty to in 2005. He's been here that long. Are you kidding me? Amid the backlash, Rubio stepped in to terminate this dude's legal status in the U.S., right? Saying that Americans should never have to live in fear that foreign sex predators, shielded from deportation by their own elected officials, could endanger them or their children. And so they put him on a plane and they bounced him. Get the hell out of town. That's what we call a go-away party. Go the boop away. You're never allowed back. Nobody you know should be allowed back. You are tainted. You are evil. Didn't we all used to agree with that? That people who fiddle with kids are the worst kind of scum? Isn't that why pedophiles in prison? That's who you don't want to be. Because even there is a code. And it doesn't involve hurting children. Make it make sense. And on this pardon board, the governor of the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who fancied himself a shoo-in for another term, who wasn't finished doing the job of ruining his state, and Keith Ellison, the highest ranking law enforcement officer in the state, whose job, hand on Bible, I do solemnly swear, is to protect the people. He's like, yeah, well, you know. He told us that he's not interested in raping little girls anymore. I believed him. I thought, what the heck? Everybody should get a second chance. And who else was on that board who granted the child rapist a pardon to stay in Minnesota and continue doing whatever devious scumbag stuff he does? Oh, that would be the Chief Justice of Minnesota's Supreme Court. Super duper. Duper duper. And we wonder why our society is doomed. It's not. These things have to be talked about. These people need to be called out. You need to be able to identify Marco Rubio as someone with an unwavering commitment to America and to truth and to fairness and to the law. Disgusting. And you know why they said, Tim Walz said he lean towards giving the guy a pardon? Because apparently the child victim of this rapist wrote a letter on the rapist's behalf saying she had forgiven him, that it was a mistake, and he knew it was a mistake. That young woman, ladies and gentlemen, will forever be scarred, no matter who paid her to write what letter. This is what we're up against. This is what we fight every damn day. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we got to talk about Ted Cruz and a rumor I'm hearing about Ted Cruz that could spell good things for the Save America Act. Next on the Wendy Bell radio network. I don't know why that story for me well, I do. I mean, you don't have to be a parent. You don't have to be a parent to protect animals and children. Animals, the elderly, and children. And probably people with disabilities that simply cannot care for themselves. If we can't agree that these people deserve not to be preyed upon, and basically all the stories today are about somebody being preyed upon. Because the people of New York who might actually need services are the ones who aren't getting them. As they're lying about in the Korean and Chinese communities about all the pharmacies and what have you. It'd be like 10 pizzerias opening up on the same block. It wouldn't happen unless they're all just fronts, which they are. And you know what? It's worthy of me to read this when we come back. It was very basic. The White House put out a very basic one-sheeter on who this guy was and why he was bounced, why the State Department got rid of him, right? This rapist guy.
One sheet. I need one sentence.
Oh, he's from Laos. I'm sorry. I keep saying Thailand. He's from Laos. And what they say here in this, literally, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 paragraphs that long. And it's 100%. That's what I voted for. That's what I voted for. And that's why they hate us. All of the people who are just grifting and grafting and having sex with kids. Right? HealthyCell.com. I wish there was one that could wipe away the feeling of vomit I have on me right now because people are gross. HealthyCell.com is this wonderful way to get supplements into your body and have them be absorbed by your body more effectively, more efficiently, more dependably than taking a pill or a capsule. Microgel, like an applesauce, like the texture of a Go-Gurt, something like that, like a Jell-O almost. You suck up your supplements in these very cute little gel packs. And then their studies indicate 165% better absorption than pills or capsules because your stomach acid doesn't really dissolve them very well. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. If you haven't tried the Calm Mood, get it. If you haven't tried REM sleep, get it. They have things for blood sugar, blood pressure. These are natural supplements, nothing pharma. Right? Affordable, nice 20% discount with your first order. I love this company. I take their products every day. Usually one in the morning and one at night. I'll take a Calm Mood today. It was Focus and Recall because I'm waiting for my new shipment. And then at night it's REM sleep. And you get into that REM sleep so that even if you only sleep in REM for an hour, you wake up and you're like, Shazam. Thank you, God. That's how it feels. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. Love them. This, the DSA agenda is just, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? People in the 1960s were hunted, basically, for saying stuff like this. But now it's like, what the hell? We're pardoning child rapists. Why not? Open the borders. Lawrence Jones actually did really well in this. I think he's my favorite person on Fox. He's like the only real guy. Brett Baer is such a turd. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I was remiss in the last segment. I want to read you this very specific, concise one-pager from the White House. This guy was not from Thailand. He's from Laos, the child rapist guy. And I want to read this to you because this is not complicated. This is how I feel. A convicted child sex offender is no longer in our country thanks to President Donald J. Trump and his administration defeating a sick attempt by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison to lend him safe harbor in the so-called sanctuary state. Laotian national Tulu Vang was convicted of repeatedly sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl in Minnesota, which he excused as a minor thing and blamed it on cultural norms in foreign countries. An immigration judge ordered him removed in 2006. 20 years later, in a brazen effort to shield the criminal illegal alien predator from imminent deportation, Walz and Ellison pardoned him, protecting an illegal alien child sex abuser over the American citizens they supposedly represent. Boom. The Trump administration rejected this outrageous affront to justice. Secretary of State Marco Rubio terminated Vang's legal status, and DHS deported him immediately. This case exposes the depravity of the radical left. They will literally pardon child rapists and defy federal law to protect criminal illegals. Walz and Ellison stood with a monster who preyed on a 10-year-old girl. The Trump administration stands with American families. Period. I voted for that. Now, I'm going to hold Ted Cruz till the next half hour because I think it's interesting. But I want you to hear, Spencer Pratt tweeted this out over the weekend, and it's a great take. It's a blip from Fox News, the morning show, as they're talking about now very openly this Democrat Socialists of America agenda, which is beyond extreme. And Lawrence Jones, one of the morning anchors of Fox and Friends, does an excellent job. I like this very much. Listen.
Who is representing people of America on the Hill? They want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. They want to replace the president and the U.S. Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by a subordinate to Congress. They want amnesty for all immigrants, and they want to defund the Department of War.
This is according to a source inside the DSA.
Yeah, but the main point is that there was this massive talking point that this is just liberal states and, liberal districts where this has happened. I'm sorry. This is happening all across the country. And they have some platforms that a lot of young people and a lot of people that have grievances with the rich are going with. It's anti-American, it's anti-Jew, it's anti-Israel, it's anti the foundation of how this country was built. They believe that our country is deeply flawed, and they're winning. So you got to have a Republican Party that speaks truth to power on all of it. They don't even want the police. They don't want any borders. One candidate said, I don't care if they committed a crime and they're a legal immigrant. You still should not be able to deport them. So we're not talking about reasonable people, but you got to make the case because these young people are showing up to vote. And the college educated, I know there were some headlines about us talking about the other day, but these college educated people have been indoctrinated. And they're not rational. They don't understand the markets. They don't understand any of that. They understand this new world order, and they're voting for this as well. So we got to start focusing back on the college campuses.
Yes. Welcome to the choir we've been preaching to, Lawrence. David Sachs, I want to play it for you again. This is the awakening of some of these people on the left, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Polypedia, billionaire guy, was not a conservative. And David Sachs says to him and the other people in the All In podcast something that has to be played again.
Let's look at what these DSA candidates stand for. They actually say they want to abolish the Senate. They want to abolish the carceral state. That means basically police forces and prisons. They want to abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. They do not support any deportations whatsoever. They want to replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary that is chosen by and subordinate to Congress. So this would be a total makeover of our constitutional system. They want public ownership of major corporations. They want to defund the Department of War. This is a very radical organization. And you would laugh at a lot of these types of proposals, but you can't really laugh at it anymore because these guys are taking over the Democratic Party. They do not actually see the traditional establishment wing of the Democratic Party as an ally. They see it as an obstacle. The DSA co-chair said, we're using the Democratic Party as a ballot access vehicle.
Oh, my God.
Not because we share its goals. We build our own organization, get elected under the Democratic label, caucus with Democrats when it's useful, and push our own agenda from the inside. We see the Democratic establishment as an obstacle, not a home. So the DSA is coming for the Democratic Party. It controls the base now. It's where all the energy is. I think this takeover will continue.
And I think as parents, we have the obligation to the rest of America to have good conversations with our children, our college-educated children who seem to have the problem here, who seem to be fooled and conned by the shiny metal object of wealth redistribution, which has never led to anything other than calamity. I think this is on us as parents. We got to make sure this isn't coming from our households. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Ted Cruz reportedly in charge of the Senate Rules Committee now that Mitch McConnell is out. Why that could mean a test of the Texas Senators' MAGA spirit. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We'll see. Again, some of these things I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know. I try to corroborate things. There's a lot of people who put breaking or what have you. And you're like, yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. So I have to be careful with some of this stuff. But this is an interesting conversation. Let's see. So is this then the day that this is the first day that the Senate is back in session after the 19-day
I believe
recess.
So, yes.
What a deal, man. What a great gig. You can work like 70 days a month or 70 days a year, right? Multiple trips. You could take a week of vacation every single month at a minimum as a sitting U.S. Senator. So if Ted Cruz is in fact now in charge of the Rules Committee because Mitch McConnell had been, then Ted Cruz could definitely prove to the MAGA-verse, of which I'm a sitting card-carrying member, that we're going to actually get some stuff done in the Senate. And he could open the door to the Save America Act. I don't know why we're not voting on it right now. Why would they not voting on the Save America Act? That should be number one every single day. Show us every single day who's against it, who's for it. And I'd like to know why John Fetterman would be against it.
Paramount is preparing to move its headquarters and redirect much of its planned $30 billion in spending out of California.
Yeesh. That's not good for Jack. He wants to get back there. Where do they want to set? Where do they say where?
Mm-mm.
Huh. Let's see if I got everybody.
Democrats plan to shut down the federal government before the midterms. I think
Well,
we've established that nothing really changes when the government shut down, that they don't do anything.
That just pisses people off.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think it needs to be put out there that of all the people on the left who are bad-mouthing Lindsey Graham, you like him, you don't like him. It's called being a human being. Cory Booker came out on X and put out a video that I was not expecting from Cory Booker, saying how he worked with him and he would work to get whatever you wanted across the line if he believed in it, and he actually worked by. It was nice to see someone on the left.
He was like the great negotiator.
It was nice to see someone on the left step back and be a human being instead of a POS, you know.
What else is going on out there for the bottom? I'm not really sure.
Well, if you're going to talk about Ted Cruz, and then we're going into flux, I don't know. You could probably take those last two bites and make them the bottom.
Or I could move Cruz to the bottom. Or should I just hit that now since I've talked about it?
That's up to you.
So, source breaking news. It says, looks like Henry McMaster is expected to announce Darlene Graham Nordone as South Carolina's interim senator. Governor McMaster is expected to announce this appointment at 4 p.m. Eastern today, so about an hour and a half. You know, I feel like we need to get more people who are not politically inclined. Because
Nancy Mace, go away.
I don't want Nancy Mace.
I don't want.
You know, the president didn't endorse you and you didn't win.
Same with the former governor there. What was her
Northam,
name?
or you got Ralph Norman?
No, the woman, Nikki Haley.
She's not. She's not a Republican. Or maybe she's a Republican, but she's not. She's a rhino. Because I don't see it. Some of the memes about Mitch McConnell. Like, what do you guys think? I'm curious, honestly. What do you guys think is going on? They're not being truthful. They're not being truthful because one thing clearly would absolve all conversation. We would be done with it. Apparently, anti-ICE protesters are swarming Susan Collins' office in Maine.
Yeah.
And then how about that head of the DSA there, or the Democrat Party, rather? Well, same thing. She's like, we're going to be totally transparent. I was like, by carving people out of the process, you're creating a list of candidates. What if the people of Maine still want Graham Plattner? What then? What if a bunch of people wrote in his name? Would they actually count it? I don't know. I don't know. That situation's far from over. Apparently, Jim Banks, Senator Banks from Indiana, is officially filing legislation to abolish birthright citizenship for children of illegal aliens following the Supreme Court ruling. And he's using Justice Brett Kavanaugh's concurrence to get it done, per Fox News. Apparently, Congress will move to... Story on flock cameras that I want to bring to you. We started talking about this last week, and I think it really is an important conversation to have. We're going to, because there's a reporter who sits down with this young man in Boulder, Colorado, who's behind that D-Flock platform. That's goal is to identify every one of these license plate reader surveillance cameras that seem to be doing a lot more than just checking out your license plate. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, this is very interesting to me, and I cannot confirm nor deny it, but I find it intriguing and worthy of us chewing on. And somebody on X put this out. Cruz just got the keys to the Rules Committee. Here's exactly what he can do with them. Monday, McConnell's absent. Cruz chairs the Rules Committee. Not vague promises, not we'll see, but named procedural levers, specific committee power right now. Original sponsor of the SAVE Act. He is the original. His own bill. He publicly said he would use every procedural tool to beat the filibuster. Ted Cruz has. He's apparently on record backing nuking the filibuster if the leadership blocks it. McConnell has already joined the Democrats once to kill the last procedural motion. We know what he's going to do. The bill needs 60 votes. GOP only has 53. Texas voter ID, the model he has cited for years, the House has already passed. It's been sitting dead in the Senate for months. Now, this bill requires citizenship proof to register, requires photo ID to vote. It has been blocked by McConnell, by Collins, Murkowski, and Tillis, and every Democrat. Now, Cruz temporarily controls the exact committee that can move it. Every excuse he's ever given evaporated this morning. This is not a hearing. This is a test. You don't get handed the Rules Committee by accident during the 1 week your own bill needs a procedural push. You get handed it, and the entire country finds out in real time whether original sponsor meant something or was it just a talking point. Interesting little nuance there for us to chew on today as we watch what goes on in the Senate this week. All right, so I want to pivot now, and I want to talk about these license plate readers. So these flock light, and they're all over the place. And if you've been living under a rock, not paying attention, next time you come to an intersection in your community that has a traffic light, look up at it, check out your surroundings, because there are cameras watching you, and ostensibly under the guise of public safety. If there is some kind of a criminal and we can track their movements on these cameras, that would be super duper, until it's not, until they're surveilling you, until they're surveilling people in your car, until somebody uses the technology to stalk a former lover or somebody who has snubbed them as a revenge thing. There's so many perilous pitfalls to these cameras. And this one guy, this one investigator from investigatetv.com digs into the young man in Colorado who started dflock.com, which is the largest police tracking database in the country. And he exposes that the cameras are being not just used as trackers of cars, but trackers of people. Listen.
In Boulder, Colorado, inside a small coffee shop.
The brighter areas are where the really high density of flock cameras are.
Will Freeman runs the largest police camera tracking system in the nation.
If you click on any of these police departments, it'll show you who they're sharing with. So the lines going outward are the agencies that can access their data directly.
It's called DFlock. The app shows where the cameras are and which way they're pointed. How many cameras have you mapped?
88,970 cameras at the moment.
Why did you want to do this?
The main reason is to show people how invasive this is.
Flock license plate readers take a time-stamped photo of every vehicle that passes every camera. Police can search your historical travel information for 30 days. This creates a searchable database of everyone, not just the suspects of crime. Security researcher Ben Jordan.
And it's like if you were to build a graph of that sheet, and plot it to a map, now it's as if you've had a GPS on your car for an entire month.
By your own publications, 700,000 crimes a year are solved with Flock? Flock Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas.
Reported crimes in America, yeah. So there's a lot more that probably are being helped that aren't being reported. But yes, we have about 700,000 crimes that we are aware of that are being solved in part with evidence that's derived from a Flock Safety device.
In order for that historical data to be of investigative value, you have to track every car for 30 days.
Again, I would challenge you on the word track. Tracking the whole of your movements is very different than knowing that you passed by one specific camera, 24 specific cameras. Those are different things.
And then the examples of tracking that vehicle from location to location to location.
But Flock's own webinars talk about its license plate reader's ability to track vehicles and people.
And we were able to track him all the way over to another state in Kentucky.
And you're able to track your suspect's movements.
You're saying Flock does not track people, correct?
Track people, that's right. And the whole of their movements, like you asked, we're not tracking people.
But what do the Condor cameras do? They literally are designed to track a person, aren't they?
Not to track a person, no.
Not to track a person, no. So they got this guy from the comms department from Flock, the company behind all these cameras, who've scored multi-gazillion-dollar contracts with municipalities and cities, certainly like mine, undoubtedly like yours, to, under the guise, again, of safety and security, put these cameras up to spy all over us, right? What about these Condor cameras, this host asks? So these cameras can follow you wherever you go. And then he walks. There's a video behind one of these cameras that's moving as he walks into the frame, and you can watch exactly what it does. The cameras do exactly that. They track us.
But what do the Condor cameras do? They literally are designed to track a person, aren't they?
Not to track a person, no.
This is a Flock camera known as a Condor. Unlike the Falcon license plate reader camera, you'll notice this does track the movements of people. Whether or not it was designed to specifically track a person, you can see right now, in real time, no matter which way I move, the camera moves with me. And this video is sent right back to the police department.
To alert you when it sees human movement, and it will actually acquire and track that person as they walk or people.
When I walked down the path and I moved, the camera followed me.
There's an object detection feature that you can set up. It's called Guardian mode, that allows the camera to just know if there's movement from a person in the screen. It is not tracking where you're going to go, where you're going to leave, or you're going to start and stop.
These started popping up weeks after hearing Flock say these only record license plates. They don't take pictures of people.
That security researcher, Ben Jordan, found the same Condor camera streaming openly online. No password required.
And they quite literally use AI to zoom in and follow you around, whether you're a person of interest or not.
At one point, I think we had found over 70 cameras.
I watched a man leave his house in the morning in New York. I watched a woman jogging alone on on a forest trail in Georgia.
And I was able to read the CEO's statement about having never been hacked in front of a camera and then access that footage later.
If a person were able to gain physical access to the device leased to the city, which is illegal, they still would not be able to gain access to the footage, as the data is only stored for a very limited time duration on the device following its transmission to the cloud.
This wasn't the dark web. This was openly streaming to anyone who could go on a specific search engine and scan open ports. Was that an accident?
Yes, Verizon sent us the wrong SIM cards that had a public IP address. We have a lot of sensors in the world that don't have that. Roughly 60, 70 devices had a public-facing IP address. Second we learned about it, we fixed it.
You guys remember the BS board I did a couple years ago on how they backtrack, right? No, we didn't do that. And then, oh, well, that was just a glitch. We were totally as surprised as you were. And the minute we found out about it, we immediately took action. That's how they do it. Oh, it's a Verizon problem. Verizon sent us the wrong chips. The chips do these things they're not supposed to do. But we're so crackerjack on this. Once we found out, we shut it down. Really? And then finally, the security expert YouTuber we brought you on Friday, Ben Jordan, continues. And he says the camera can, and they are used by bad actors, like Flock Communications guy. Says it's really all for the greater good, though. You can hear the talking points from the political parties here in this soundbite. It's crazy.
What if a police officer uses flock cameras to stalk their ex? What if an abusive partner uses it to stalk their ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend? It's already happened.
Police officer was arrested accused of misusing the system to track someone.
There have been multiple incidents where police officers, even a police chief, were arrested for using LPR cameras and specifically Flock to stalk or harass their exes.
It's a horrible use of the technology. Tools aren't designed to do that. This is why we built an audit log, and we work with the appropriate democratically elected governing bodies to hold those people accountable.
You have to consider human nature when you implement things like this. No one's perfect. People are going to abuse it.
Back in that Boulder coffee shop,
Let's see, direct route, 4 cameras, and that's just to go 1.7 miles.
Will Freeman added a special feature to DFlock.
It also allows you to route around these things. Yeah, it goes from 5 minutes to 14 minutes, but it avoids all the cameras.
And there's an epidemic, as we all know, of mass killings in America. And if there's an opportunity to stop that, I want to be on the side of the people who are fighting to stop those things, not the people who are fighting to stop the proliferation of technology to stop crime.
Actual killers have been caught with this technology. Would you want to take that away from the police?
Considering everything, I would want to take that away from the police, at least in the current state that it's in.
Right? And the guy's like, there's been this epidemic of mass killings. Where? From the open borders? What are you talking about? See how they package it? There's a danger out there, but we're here to help you out. Thank goodness we are too, because it's for the greater good. And everybody agrees with that, right? Doesn't it just make you feel creepy? Because it should. And to that guy's point, Ben Jordan's point, it doesn't take a whole lot for somebody, the police department, to use this technology to spy on someone, their former lover. Oh, wait a minute. That's already happened and people have been arrested? Oh, boy. The rest of the story right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's just gross. And the one side, the young man is like, look, everything that you're telling me doesn't make me feel like it's okay to have cameras spying on my move. That we pull up to an intersection now and know that there is this other technology that can be partnered really quickly with like a flip of a button, and all of a sudden now your cell phone and all of the phones of the people in your car are now pinging this device. And so they know who's with you. They know where you are. That's gross. Right? And then the guy from Flog is like, no, all the liberal talking points. From a democratically, we go through, that's what the guy, the Flock CEO said, the guy who invented the company. Oh, no, we work with the democratically elected whatever to manage any problems. And you're like, that's a peculiar thing to add there.
Everyone hates eavesdroppers.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to hear everything someone has to say about you.
Nope.
You're just not. Something in the privacy of if someone wants to vent about you, I don't need to hear. If Wendy wants to vent about me, I don't necessarily need to hear it. And I saw it happen. That a coworker of mine, I can put Wendy in queue. If Wendy takes a phone call off the air and she's sitting in there, I can hit a button on my board and hear her conversation. Well, who wants that? It's none of my business, but I saw a coworker do it years
It leads
back.
to so many problems. Eavesdroppers never get. There's no benefit.
And
to
I walked in,
eavesdropping,
and
ever.
she was at the time all up in arms, and I was like, "What's wrong?" Well, Marty, sorry, Boo said this about me, and I was like,
How do you know that?
How he said that to you? And she's like, well, no. I'm like, then it's none of your business. How can you be mad at someone? I always say this about people. You know, if you see someone go off, I don't know what kind of day they're having. Did they mean it? Maybe not. Maybe not in the way you took it, but because you did it kind of creepily, you really don't have any room to say, boy, I think this person is that, or I don't know. I don't want anybody spying on me. I don't need anybody. I don't even like all the ring cameras.
My life is complicated enough. You know, I don't need to be worrying about who's watching me doing what I'm doing. That's what was so invasive about that movie, The Firm.
Yeah.
It was
that's
so
gross,
creepy.
Private conversations you're having with your wife or a friend or whatever. Like, if Wendy wants to vent about Brock, we want to hear it. You'll hear it.
If Wendy what?
Wants to vent about Brock, we want to hear it. You'll hear it. She says it all the time. Stop saying gone when it's supposed to be went. Stop saying went when it's supposed to be gone.
I've never said to stop saying gone when it's supposed to be went, because it's almost never went. But nice try. But you're right. Your whole thing about eavesdropping is just, I'd rather not know.
Right.
I'd rather not know. If somebody who I love has something terrible to say about me, I'd rather not carry that burden around with me.
No.
That's probably for them.
It's the same as catching someone in a lie.
It's like rumors and talking about these flock cameras that are basically, they were billed as license plate readers to assist in crime detection and surveillance of criminal masterminds, if you will. Well, we can see him going from here to here to here to there, and there we go. Oh, here we found his vehicle. Success story. And they say 700,000 crimes have been thwarted because of, or solved, or what have you, because of these cameras. And you can say that, and that's wonderful. But when you give people an opportunity to go and do extra with that, if you give people the ability to be nefarious, to misuse something, to take it in a way it's not intended, you're going to have problems. And when the problem is surveilling people, that's a serious slope. And already police officers in several locations have been arrested and charged with misusing the cameras and their data Here's a report.
Just yesterday in Greene County, a deputy was arrested and fired. Investigators say Quenisha Goss accessed flock data for personal reasons multiple times over the course of 3 months without law enforcement justification. A similar story in South Georgia. 5 Albany officers were arrested on Monday. You see their names listed there. The GBI says an internal audit found that the officers used the flock system multiple times for non-law enforcement purposes. All of those officers have been fired.
And maybe, just maybe, that's part of the reason the city of Los Angeles has bagged their contract with Flock. It expires, and they are not bringing it back. Listen.
LAPD says that it helps them in tracking down suspects involved in a crime. Now, some people in the community like that surveillance. Others say that it violates their privacy. LAPD says that concern is what led to its decision.
Well, this contract's not being renewed because of serious concerns around civil liberty and civil rights issues, particularly around privacy and the data that's being collected from these cameras. So the LAPD had to make a difficult decision of continuing, in this case, discontinuing using Flock services until we can get those data, privacy, security, and sharing concerns ironed out through a contractual relationship.
We need a contract to continue moving forward. That guy's the LAPD's or whatever, the city's public information guy, right? We're worried about liberty infringement, civil liberty infringement. Maybe they're also worried about anybody using the cameras to track illegal aliens. Who knows? That's another sidebar wrinkle. But look, all of these things that we're talking about today, 5 years ago, how suspicious would you have been about traffic cameras? Would you really have had it on the mind until COVID, perhaps? Right? Until you saw what they did to surveil us? Think about what you went through with your own doctor. They asked you during COVID and probably for the last several years, are you fully vaccinated? It's none of their freaking business. Why was there ever any need for that under the guise of that greater good? Well, we can't have it spreading. We need to get people to be in quarantine. And in my state of Pennsylvania, our Doomcoff governor before Josh Shapiro, Tom Wolf, had tried to create a volunteer corps of 100,000 snitchers. Literally, this was his idea. You think cameras are creepy? How about having a volunteer coronavirus narc force to tattle on people who have tested positive but aren't staying inside? Maybe we should start with Chris Cuomo, right? Who was supposed to be quarantined, except he was, you know the story. Look, this is that not even slippery slope. This is so brazen and bold and in your face. And you want to know where this goes? The social contract scores. If you don't know what that is, look up on it in China, in Canada. They spy on people. They follow where you spend your money. And if the government thinks you're drinking too much alcohol because it's monitoring your credit card purchases, what does it do? Locks you out from travel. You can't get on a subway. You can't buy a plane ticket. You can't get on a bus. You're stuck where you are, persona non grata. And who gets to decide what your value is on your score? I don't know. I guess the same nameless, faceless people who are spying on you through these cameras, if in fact that's what's really going on. It's a big leap. We're talking very candidly about these democratic socialists / communists. They're saying the quiet part out loud. We want to take the Etch-a-Sketch called America and we want to shake it. And we're going to erase it. And we're going to create the America that we want, that hasn't done anything well anywhere else, but we're going to do it here. New system. And our children are falling for it. Parents, this is on us. Thanks for being a part of the Wendy Bell radio program. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow, you guys. Thank you for being a part of everything we do. Have a great day. Love you guys. Peace.